Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 246. We're missing a couple people. We're missing Sean. Sean said he's sick. At least that's allegedly. So he'll be back, I'm sure, next week. Nate he's doing something. I don't know. He said he'd probably be running late, so we might see him later on tonight. And Click, I believe, is on vacation. But we do have Max, at least for the first half of the show. Max, how are we doing tonight?
Good. I'm going to a Witcher party later because Witcher Season 2 is out. So I'm not looking at chat. So if y'all are posting spoilers, I'm not even going to see them.
I binged it yesterday. Let me put some spoilers in Discord chat. Real quick.
we got OJ, Player Essence. How we doing, OJ?
I want to say once again, John, 2 weeks in a row, you have me back on, dude. I really appreciate you not kicking me off again. But I appreciate that. Black Keely has a few words for you though, so you'll be hearing from him. But thank you so much, man. I do appreciate having me on. It's a very difficult process, but thank you once again for having me on.
I'm
man.
looking forward to the Black Keely show. That'd be fun. Looking forward to it.
Christmas special. Calling it Blacksmiths, by the way.
Okay. We got Jordan Fringe. How we doing, Jordan?
Good. Glad to be here.
Good to have Jordan here. Did you see Spider-Man yet?
I did.
I need to see it. I think I'm going to see it this week coming up.
It's
you should.
It's good? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I will. I'm going to see it this week coming up.
I got to go watch
I'm
it too.
excited.
I got to go check it out.
I'm excited. I'm trying to find a good time to go when not a lot of people are going to be there, but I feel like the movie theater is going to be packed for like the next month.
Yeah.
For that movie. People going to see it twice, 3 times. And just
see it at like 11 a.m. on a weekday, and I bet it'll be
weekday, earliest possible showing weekday.
Okay.
I will say I saw the first like early showing, which was like a 3 p.m. on Thursday showing of it, and like that's where like the diehard, Marvel and Spider-Man fans were, and they were very respectful to like not be loud at all, but there was like a roller coaster when like the big stuff happens, and it was kind of nice feeling that excitement at a theater again that I haven't felt in years. So that was kind of a cool thing.
Same thing. I was 4 p.m. Thursday, and oh my god, there were people literally dressed as Spider-Man. Oh my god, it was so good.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it this week. I think it'll be fun. We got Evan. Evan, wait, did you see Spider-Man already?
No, that'll be Tuesday, I think. I'm heading over.
There you go. Okay, very good. Then we got MVG.
Hey, what's up? Great to be here.
Fresh off the Analog Pocket review.
Yep. Review's doing really well, so everyone appreciate the love on the video. It's done a lot better than I thought, actually, because normally when there's reviews like that, there's like at least like 30 different YouTube reviews of the same thing. So I appreciate people stopping by and checking out mine.
Yeah, I'm all late. I'll hopefully have one up tomorrow about it. But I got it apart and I put it back together and it still works.
I think that's the type of thing though. Like I did see that MVG. I watched it. That's the type of thing that people are just so interested in. They're probably going to watch multiple people's take on that.
Yeah.
Because it's such a unique type of product, So I mean, if anybody does something, we're all going to, okay, well, what does this person think about, the Analog Plug? And they're going to definitely want to know your opinion on it, So, so yeah.
Absolutely cool. Yep. It's a cool device. I'll say that. I'm pretty happy with it actually. But I'll talk about it tomorrow. Like I said, I got to tear down and all that good stuff. So, but tonight we have some stuff to go over. We have the situation around Final Fantasy VII on PC and Final Fantasy XIV, which is just so strange all the way across the board for both of them, to the point where it's certainly bled into like mainstream stuff, even just outside of Final Fantasy, specifically 14, because they had basically stopped selling it. And Final Fantasy VII with the PC stuff. Then we have the Splinter Cell remake. We'll go over that, see if we trust Ubisoft enough to even do it. And then Nintendo in 2022. I figure we got to start getting our thoughts and predictions in for these different companies. We're doing Nintendo. I actually have a set of questions I'm going to come up with here. And then we'll look back on them a year from now, actually, and see if any of us got any of the stuff right. So it should be pretty fun, I think tonight. So Max is going to be gone after he said the first half of the show. So why don't we just start with the Final Fantasy stuff? How's that sound? Because we have two topics here. Technically, the two different games, but one is suffering from too much success, and the other one is suffering from what appears to be a very rough port on PC, based on the options and all the stuff they have. Why don't you tell me, Max, though, about this Final Fantasy 14 game? Because I keep looking into it. Might be the best time to get into it now. I heard the queue is only down to 8,000 people now when you log in.
Yeah, so currently the problem with Final Fantasy VII Remake is getting, Final Fantasy 14 keeps getting bigger and better. They keep adding in new classes. Every expansion has been like having some of the best stories. But additionally, because everybody hates Blizzard now, everybody quit World of Warcraft this year. So all the World of Warcraft players are jumping on board. The game's exploded in popularity so much, it's almost impossible to play it. I have not played the game in the last 3 days because it takes 3 hours to log in right now. 3 hours. What I usually do is I'll press log in, I'll go to the gym and come back and hope that I'm able to get into the game. So because of it, the solution they've come up with is they've stopped selling the game. You cannot buy the game right now. You can't buy the expansion. You can't buy anything. You can't do the free trial. They're literally just locking people out unless you already have the game.
That's so weird that it's so successful that they can't keep selling it because they just don't have the room for people on the servers. And apparently the global chip shortage has caused them to be unable to find more servers to stand up and kind of fix things that way. People were asking them, why don't you just get more servers? Well, they can't. Like they physically cannot find servers. Apparently,
I didn't think about that. What you said though, Max, like with the World of Warcraft and with Blizzard, I just that slipped my mind in terms of like the explosion of popularity. Yeah, people are just saying, well, screw Blizzard. I don't want to play their stuff. Even if it was like, let's just say like 1 million people, right? Out of the whole, that's still a lot of people. Or even if it's like 700,000 people, that's a lot more people, coming over to another game. So yeah, I didn't think about that when I talked about it.
And Final Fantasy XIV, the developers have said that they based the whole way that the game looks and plays. They originally based it on World of Warcraft, so it's very easy to convert from one MMO to the other.
I really want to get into the game, but I gotta be honest, I know it'd take forever to get to where people are now, like hundreds of hours. But people rave about the story. They say the game itself plays well, and apparently it works well enough on the PS5, like for the controller and everything.
Yeah, it's super playable. It has this interesting system where like all the different, like one character can be every class. So I play as a black mage and a healer sometimes and do tanking. It's really cool to just like make your character. What is a weird small saving grace is the developers, like something these articles aren't talking about is that they're not charging you game time right now. So even though you do have a subscription, since the game is in such kind of an unplayable state, they're actually giving you free game time. So right now, because I can't log in, I'm technically not being charged for these days, but it's
okay.
It's weird that they're at a point where the developers are having to apologize for the popularity of it.
Do they have like a player count? Like how many people? I've never thought of that because World of Warcraft got out of control back in the day to the point where it was like a ridiculous amount of people logging in. What if it's the same amount or even more than that? Or we're just to the point where they can't get the servers that WoW had, even the number of servers back then.
It's now the most popular game ever, they've said. Said, I think they said 35 million players now. Now, there's the weird part about that is that they do have free trial accounts, so it's difficult to see how many people are paid current, gamers. The other half of that, though, is definitely, I think that World of Warcraft never quite caught in on a ton in Japan. It was really big in China and really big in America, whereas Final Fantasy XIV is really popular everywhere. So I think it's just, we just never had such a thunderclap of an MMO before.
Yeah, because we're several expansions in now, and it seems like this is going to be going on for a little while. So it's kind of a shame for people who are really into Final Fantasy 14, and now you got to wait hours just to get into the game. So yeah, man, that's going to be something to see how they deal with this going along the next year or so.
I'm hoping it just dies down. Like as somebody who has played I've played over 1,000 hours now total of Final Fantasy 14, and I like it, but I just feel like I have to hope people kind of burn out because right now I can't play it.
Yeah, that's the thing with MMO. You're going to play it for years, so you just rack up the hours, and it's. I had one friend who got really into it, said it ate his entire life up. So like it was to the point where it was so addictive that he couldn't get away from it, and I'm like,
yeah, there is that. Man. Well, there are people that are really into the game. There's like hookers and stuff in the game that you pay and gill and role play with, and
that was in WoW as well. Yeah.
I mean,
but it's almost condoned here. That's the weird thing is now the developers have been like, yes, we understand that there are cat girl brothers. Like as long as you don't do it in the main town, I guess do whatever you want.
I mean, he said it's like the best MMO he's ever played and everything, but I guess they're stuck to where they can't even build any more on top of it until they get the server stuff figured out. So I mean, I almost wonder if that would push back any future DLC stuff, like expansions they have planned for like 2 years from now. If they're like, well, we got to hold off another year to get this figured out.
They had to cancel some plans. One of the main things they wanted is that they're trying to make a thing called cross world servers to make it where like if you were playing on like a totally different server from me, Spawn, I couldn't visit you but they were trying to set it up so that you could do that. And now they've said, we're going to have to delay that for like a long time. We don't even know when. They're like, we've pretty much finished it, but we'd have to build it into the servers, and the servers are on fire. So we don't want to start moving things around right now. But
how long is like, they got like a tutorial section in it. How long do you think it takes to actually get into the game seriously, like to where it's like the story picks up and you're like, okay, this is good?
In about 60 hours is when you're super hooked, because they're basically the whole beginning of the game, and that's short.
Yeah.
It used to be about 200 hours, and I wish
so I
was
just have
joking.
to play through Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then I start the game.
But I mean, all of it's fun. But I feel like it's 60 hours in is when you're fully hooked, and you'll never quit the game, and you'll leave your wife and family. And once you get 60 hours in is when the hooks are in.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I guess if that's spread out over the course of months, it won't feel like that long.
Yeah.
But okay. What's the max level in the game?
Now it's 90.
Oh, all right.
And it's so fun. I mean, it's annoying that it takes 3 hours to get into the game, but part of it's because nobody logs out. Like, that's the problem, is that like once you log in,
people must be running some type of thing where it like moves the character every so often, so it doesn't auto log them out and stuff.
So they're trying to ban people, and the developers have told people to if you spot someone in the corner of town going like this, they now say report those people and we'll ban them for you. So yeah, that's a problem.
Wow, that's something else. It's just too much success. The game's just too successful. But the other one that was interesting with Final Fantasy was Final Fantasy VII on PC, and this had a hard time right out of the gate because they announced it and it showed up in the Epic Game Store exclusively, so it's not even on Steam. But it showed up as a $70 PC game.
Yeah,
which that already set some alarm bells. Like, Evan, did you see the $70 price on this thing? Were you like, hold on a minute, what's going on here?
I mean, I already played it on console, but I mean, we know what's going on. The assumption is that these game companies feel they
Wait,
can
you played it on the
doing this
PlayStation 4?
Yeah, I thought.
You actually used that PS4 Pro?
It was yeah, I played it. I played Spider-Man, and I was like, all right. And then I actually played the Final Fantasy one.
Wow,
nice.
Okay. Look at console gamer over there. All right.
Now it's in my closet because I have this gaming PC over here that I can't like have.
I might need to pick that up from you because I heard there may have been a
jailbreak or something.
Jailbreaking that took place at some point. Maybe a PS4 Pro with an SSD would be
I could drop it off at the office. That's not a problem.
Okay, cool. That'd be interesting. Okay. Yeah, so Final Fantasy VII went to PC, $70. You're passed on it then, Evan, because you already beat it. You're good. Okay. I mean, you see these Square doing 70 on these PC games. What do you think, Evan?
They're
all right with that? You're looking at it like,
I'm not necessarily all right with it, but I mean, prices are always based on whether or not the individual wants to pay money for it. Like at the end of the day, so if people are really hardcore into it and want to play it, they'll pick it up for 70. Question is, by the time the next one comes out, is that one going to be 80? Are we going to wait that long? They're going to up it a little bit more.
Right. Good PS6 game there.
I have a question. And maybe I don't know if you guys remember, when Death Stranding came to PC, was that full price?
Pretty sure that was full price.
That was 60, wasn't it? It was $60.
Yeah,
sure.
I thought it was 50 or 60.
Was it 50? I thought it was 50, wasn't it?
I thought it was 50. Yes.
Evan actually bought it too.
Yeah.
Like he's the one he actually bought the game.
I don't know how much. I bought it when it was on a discount. I don't remember what it opened up.
Well, I'm saying like Evan actually paid the full price, so he would probably know either way.
I mean, the whole thing,
50 or 60.
the whole thing they went into was like how much more it had, and then they were like, the price is still basically the same. And I was like, all right,
okay. We were saying it was 50. Okay, yeah. So that's the other thing. This is a later port to the PC as well. It's not even like a day, and it's not the same day. Like if the game comes out on the PS5 and the PC at the same time, they might do it for price parity and be like, look, that's just our price. But like this is like 2 years late. So
apparently, like I checked out. Now I'm not the biggest PC gamer, but I mean, you guys helped me get a PC, so I do have a gaming PC that's capable. So I have Epic Game Store. I installed it. They gave me a review code for the game. So I cover pretty much all Square Enix games.
Death Stranding's still 60 on Steam, so it's still.
Oh, it's still 60. Okay. The options, it's just missing.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing.
Even in my limited knowledge of PC gaming, but even like me, I'm like, there's not like a lot here compared to what I see with other games that I have. Even older games that I play, like Tomb Raider and stuff like that. So
that always hurts too when PC gamers see that in a game. They're like, "Oh, you assholes."
Yeah, exactly. So I noticed it. I'm like, it's missing.
This crossed my mind though because Nier had some serious issues with its port to PC, and I'm like,
yes.
Square isn't exactly the best at PC ports. And then they were like, it's 70 on Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm like, oh, maybe they're actually going to have like a good outing with this one, and it shows up, and it's like, where are all the options
that's the
for
issue.
anything?
It's missing the options, and they're charging 70 for it, and it's not like the best experience, I guess, right? Like the PS5 version's still the best place to play it. So I think that's the biggest issue right now with the PC version.
They have
could
the frame
fix it
rate
though.
at 120 on the PC, but they lock it there. It's weird that they don't unlock that as well. Like I don't know. There's some strange stuff going on with this port.
And again, Square Enix did mess up a Chrono Trigger on PC port. So I mean,
it's a lot. Yeah, with PC and Square don't go together. Yeah, but the problem is they decided, okay, it's gonna be 70, and that makes you think, okay, they're actually gonna make a
Chrono Trigger wasn't 70.
Yeah, but like if Final Fantasy Remake showed up at 15 or $50, you'd be like, all right, well, it's cheaper than the 70 or the full price they were doing for PS5, which they still try to get that full price on PS5, by the way, for Intergrade.
Yeah,
but
they tried.
Yeah, they try. It's always on sale, but they try to do it.
It didn't work though. People were like, no, we're not paying 70 for that.
Yeah. But that's the biggest thing now is Square is going to have Forspoken. That's going to be 70 on PC. At least that's coming out the same day as on the PS5. But is that going to be a situation where it's actually well done, or is it going to be another kind of bare bones port job?
That's going to be rough, man, because that's a new IP. I think that with Final Fantasy, you can kind of maybe get away with 70 because it's Final Fantasy. Forspoken, we don't know if the game is going to be super good or not. It could be. It looks great, but
there was this gameplay that went up on IGN. And I missed this at first, and I went back and people were mentioning it, so I looked into it. There was like gameplay that went up on IGN for Forspoken.
Yeah,
and it wasn't very good.
It was strange. I actually kind of enjoyed it for what it was. But the weirdest thing is how much she's just walking around in empty fields, like shooting at zombie-looking things. It's like, what is this?
Some people were complaining about the person playing the game.
The performance wasn't very good for it. Like in terms of like the frame rate and stuff was an issue. Like it was a little weird. And then they pulled it down. And I figured that was because of an embargo. Some people thought it was because it was such a backlash. I feel like it was just maybe an embargo that got broken by accident or something.
They did say that there is a performance option in the game. So apparently there's going to be a 60 frames per second mode in the game. So
yeah, that's what I would play on either way.
Yeah, but we'll see. But yeah, the gameplay didn't. That's the reason why I at first when I first saw it, I was like, I think this could be cool. But once we started actually seeing more gameplay of Forspoken, I was like, I wasn't so sure based on the gameplay, but it could be really cool. But yeah, I did watch the gameplay before they pulled it down, and yeah, it didn't quite look as good as like Final Fantasy VII Remake. When we first saw that, when they first showed off the gameplay, I was like, okay, this is going to be pretty good. Then they gave us the demo. But Forspoken doesn't quite look as good, but there's some interesting, unique stuff in the game. So we'll see like when it comes out. But yeah, that $70 price tag for PC, is that going to be something that people?
I kind of feel like I almost wonder if like EA and 2K are going to see that now and be like, all right, let's and Take-Two or be like, all right, let's try it ourselves. It's weird that it's Square who's the one who moves in, not EA or Take-Two. It's Square.
Well, Take-Two already did it. NBA 2K was $70, wasn't it?
On PC, I mean, I don't know. People are buying that on PC anyway. I know.
I just meant
Battlefield. Oh, I mean, like on PC though. Like Battlefield, I know was 60. That was 60 on PC. And I feel like that maybe now they'll be like, okay, we'll see about this next time we release a big title. Like Grand Theft Auto 6, whenever that comes out, that's 70 on PC. I'm telling you now.
It might be 80.
It might be 80. They might just be like, look, you guys are going to pay $100 for this and like it. And everyone's going to be like, all right.
It's probably 70 plus a battle pass or something.
Well, there's probably gonna be like a deluxe edition where it's like 100 something, and like you get like different
one shark
card and all that.
Yeah, it's just gonna be shark cards.
Yeah, shark card. Like, and they're gonna try to push that one more than anything. So essentially, for most people, they're probably gonna go there and spend $100. Like you're probably gonna walk out with Grand Theft Auto with $100. Like you're gonna spend $100 plus tax.
Yep. Let's go Discord question. What we got?
One for MVG. Any thoughts on the Matrix demo and Unreal 5?
Technically amazing. And if there's anyone that doesn't think that current gen is holding next gen back, let me rephrase that. If anyone doesn't think that last gen is not holding this gen back based on, and then you go watch the Matrix thing, then you are mistaken. This is the reason why I want Sony and Microsoft to get off of the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, because stuff like this just is not possible on last gen.
You don't think the VCR can play that?
No.
Oh man,
Got lighting
Nate?
on fire.
Time to put that VCR away there, Nate.
You probably can't play the start screen.
you OJ, you hear the news about the new Mass Effect, Jordan and OJ? Gonna be Unreal Engine 5?
Yeah, I did hear. Was it Unreal Engine 5 that they were just talking about Unreal Engine? Unreal Engine 5.
I think Jeff Grubb mentioned that on Twitter. That's Unreal Engine 5.
Okay. Oh, Unreal Engine 5. That actually more scares me than makes me excited.
No,
How does that scare you more?
The older Mass Effect.
Just use Unreal Engine 4. That we know what it is. Instead of using something new, just use 4.
No, I want to see them push stuff to the limits, but at least on Unreal, we have proof that at least the games can run okay.
No, dude, listen, the last time that they changed, dude, look, Andromeda.
They changed to their.
They've corrected course. They tried
but they're not
Frostbite.
using Frostbite.
That
Yeah,
didn't work. And now they're going back to Unreal's technology. I have complete faith in that. That's
Okay,
a good
yes,
move.
I understand, but
You want them to use Frostbite again?
No, I don't want them to use Frostbite again.
What do you
No,
want
I
them
actually
to
don't.
use?
Unreal Engine 4.
I feel like 5 will
Unreal
speed
Engine
up.
4 would be okay.
Well, I feel like 5 will speed up their pipeline just because you can use like cinema level models in it, and it'll just cut it down as needed, so they don't have to do as much work.
People in the chat are saying, "Oh, MVG, you can't get a PS5, you can't get a Series X. Guess what? You can't get a PS4 and an Xbox One. There is a global shortage. I mean, you can't find any of those systems
the
anywhere."
PS4 Pro is still like $300 some odd on eBay. Yeah. It's so weird. Yeah, just the console only is like $300 for a PS4 Pro. I don't know what that's about. But
I'm seeing like people scalping Xbox One S's for $500. I mean,
hey, does it work on it works on that Xbox Series S, right? Hey, you know what? Yeah, over at the Best Buy, there's an Xbox Series S right now in stock at my Best Buy for $250.
Yeah, they're on Amazon too. They're on. Yeah. You can get them. The Fortnite, the purple, the Spawn Wave 1 edition is on Amazon that you can get.
Yeah, Jake Randall's, but he's been doing a pretty good job keeping up on that. There's some people who are following him saying they're getting them. They just gotta keep their eyes out for it, keep alerts on for Jake Randall.
Yes, Jake Randall. He's doing a very good job. So make sure you guys follow him, Jake Randall. Make sure you follow him. But one thing I'd like to say, there's less people, John, that are like there's less systems that I think than before, even than like a few months ago, right?
Yeah.
Is there less now?
Oh, it's the total is shrinking, the supply.
Yeah.
Even though we saw like the numbers for Nintendo and the Switch were pretty good, right? Over 1 million units sold in like November. Even that was down from last year because they're running out of systems to sell.
What? Yeah. Wait, do you mean like they're making less, or there just are less?
They're trying to make more, but they can't. Like we're at this point with this apparently the supply chain and the chip shortage that it's just impossible to make any of these systems right
just
now.
Just a full production bottleneck. Jesus,
there's a serious struggle right now, and unfortunately, it might last a good chunk of 2022 as well, which is unfortunate.
What the hell does? I mean, not to get too theoretical, but what the hell's that going to mean if if there's no PlayStation 5s to buy, what the hell's going to happen to the PlayStation 5?
Well, no, they'll still have PlayStation 5s to sell, but it just won't. It'll be like maybe 60 or 70% of what they were trying to get out.
Okay, 60%. Okay, so my thought, I was just making sure it wasn't 10% of their.
Yeah, but I mean,
60%.
To give it. I mean, John, you talked about it in your video too. I think IGN also talked about. I discussed it, but like it's so bad they didn't even ship any to Japan. Japan shipped. They just said you guys don't get any. They sold less than 1,000, or less than 2,000, or less than 1,500 units. Sorry, this past week. That is the lowest that I've ever seen, and it's not because people don't want to buy it there. Like they could probably sell 30 to 40,000.
Oh yeah, whenever they have like stores that are doing the raffles, they're just always full up. There are pictures on Twitter all the time, people like lining up for them at stores.
It's really bad right now. The fact that they didn't even, and it's the busiest shopping period, and they're not even shipping them to. So certain, you think it's bad here. Certain countries, man, they're just not getting it at all. Like right now, I mean, I do have family in Nigeria. Like, dude, it's like legit. If you want one, it's like $4,000 for one. If you want to get one there.
A friend of mine in Norway, he's trying to get one in Norway, and in Norway, because they're so scarce, they're just market value. They've marked them up to $2,000. If you want one, like at the store charges you $2,000. It's like Jesus.
Offhand, it's be like 4,000. The stores there, they say, hey, we can maybe get you one, maybe or maybe not, but yeah, like 2,000 plus. But yeah, people were selling them for crazy amounts.
And the Tom Warren tweet about how Microsoft is using Xbox dev kits to run Halo Infinite tournaments.
Jeez, they just probably had them laying around in the closet somewhere. Like, get those dev kits out of here.
I got to be honest, I've never heard of that happening before.
These are unprecedented times.
Yeah, for real. I've never seen it this bad before in my life.
We might be 3 years into this generation before these systems show up on store shelves, like actual physical shelves. Isn't that crazy? That sounds like the Wii era, but for everything.
Yeah.
Well,
that was the Wii era.
Yeah.
It's kind of reminding me, and it's sort of inverse, but remember back in when the Atari 2600 was outselling the 5400 and the 7200, it sort of feels like that, where people are still buying PlayStation 4s over a year into the PlayStation 5. It's going to be weird to think people are still going to be buying PlayStation 4s.
But they don't have any. But PS4s aren't. They don't have any.
You gotta get them used on like
eBay. But I mean, literally,
eBay. Okay,
and that's what I mean. Is I've talked to some personal friends of mine who have said, like, I'm excited for Horizon Zero Dawn, and I haven't played Spider-Man. I guess I have to buy this on a PlayStation 4. So they're buying secondhand PlayStation 4s since PS5s are a unicorn.
Yeah, you can buy secondhand. There's like, if you go off of like, offer up and stuff, they have them all over the place. Secondhand stuff.
Yep. But even those like are being driven up in price now, so it's wild times out there right now. Wild times.
Yeah.
Got another Discord question, Evan?
What is your most anticipated game that wasn't a nominee for the Game Awards for that, I guess, bracket? They had the ones I guess he's not worried about are the ones that were already announced, like Breath of the Wild 2, Starfield, Elden Ring, God of War, Ragnarok, and Horizon Forbidden West. So anything outside of that.
That wasn't part of the most. Okay, I see what you're saying. That's not okay. Got it.
I seriously think that Final Fantasy 16 is coming next year, and I am so, because the guy, the guy who made Final Fantasy 14 so great is the dude who's producing Final Fantasy 16. So
they're gonna have to stop selling 16 too.
Exactly.
Oh,
but
man.
I'm literally just kind of curious what a guy who made a universe this big, like what a single player experience from him is going to be like. I'm so curious.
I'm excited for that. Very excited for that. For me, it's a little bit smaller, but Triangle Strategy. Really looking forward to Triangle Strategy on this Switch. That's coming out March 4th, I think. So that's going to be a ton of fun. So looking forward to that.
I think for me, Bayonetta 3 would be my pick.
That one's going to be good too. That's going to be awesome.
I think I'm going to say Dying Light 2 right now in the near term because it's coming out soon. So I'm getting hyped up for it now.
Someone said Shredder's Revenge in the chat. I might change my pick, but I mean,
Shredder's Revenge looks really good. Yeah. I don't know. There's some really good games coming up.
Yeah, Shredder's Revenge looks great. Bayonetta looks great. Dying Light looks great. Final Fantasy, if that comes out, I mean,
the next 3 months, there's a lot of games coming out. You really think about it, because I know and it's that weird thing where we're like, okay, we're still in 2021. 2022 feels like it's forever away. 2022 is like 2 weeks away or something like that. So we're getting close. And once we get into January, we start talking about Legends Arceus. We start talking about all those games coming out in February, which includes Dying Light 2, Horizon, Elden Ring.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like it starts stacking up pretty quick, right? So
I thought we start talking about directs in January. Isn't that what we normally do?
Yeah, we do need to start talking about that
like 2 or 3 days from now or something, right? Like
Pokemon Direct. We're gonna have a Pokemon Direct, right, Jordan?
Wait, Jordan, isn't there supposed to be a new Pokemon game in 2022?
I mean, technically, there always is going to be. So technically, every 3 years is the next generation. Yeah. This would be the final year, so you would be expecting a Generation 9 in the vein of Sword and Shield to come out, November-ish. But this is the 1 year for the first time I've been kind of uncertain because of their release schedule, and I do think that there's a double play here with Arceus. Where if this game does well and it plays well and it's received well, that's where they kind of transition the mainline games to. And if it bombs or if it's not something that people are really into, or if it's clunky or whatever, then they're just going to pivot right back to their tried and true nature of, all right, here's our next game. It's the same one you played, but now we've upgraded a few things, or I guess in some people's eyes downgraded some things like trees and whatnot. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm like 50-50 if we're gonna get the 9th generation by the end of next year or not.
Interesting. Okay.
Usually we would, based on how the card game's going. they're still treating it like this may be the final year for the 8th generation. So I don't know what's gonna happen.
Do you think they do like a major expansion for like Arceus? That's what I was thinking. They might do like at the end of the year an expansion for Arceus, and then the next generation would be the following year. That's maybe what I was thinking.
Well, since this is coming out in January, it almost feels like because we had the remakes and then we would get regular games at the end of next year, that this is kind of just being sandwiched somewhere in between, just so there's something out there that they can have if worst case scenario the Generation 9 doesn't happen. There's like, okay, well, we have this other massive game, and I don't know. I feel like they're ready to pivot to many ideas, whether it's Generation 9, whether it's the next Let's Go, or if Arceus does well. I know they do want to do more Legends games that aren't just based on like this one. We can go to a different region earlier in time. We can learn the origins of Mew or other, mythical or legendary Pokemon. So
you're selling me on a game that doesn't exist yet. I'm like excited to play this.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. We have no idea it's been the most confusing year for Pokemon in general with how popular it got. And things are all over the place, but it really depends on how well Arceus does and how well it actually plays. So
let's actually, since we're already talking about 2022, let's just move into Nintendo in 2022. I think we're going to start talking about some of their thoughts and predictions across the different consoles to finish up the year. And I thought we'd come back and look at how we did a year from now. So December 18th, 2022. By then, we assume all of the games will have been out. We'll have any big announcements or anything for that year, anything releasing, and we can see how close we were. So I'll actually keep track of this as we go along, and then we'll look back on it. So Nintendo in 2022 seems like it's going to be a big year for them overall. We assume Breath of the Wild is going to come out, Splatoon 3, Kirby, Bayonetta. I mean, it does really start to stack up when you think about them also announcing other games on top of that, especially when you think about maybe a Metroid Prime remake, right? Something like that. Xenoblade Chronicles 3, that could happen.
I need it.
I'm starting to look at their year for 2022 and think they might actually have like a big game almost every month, just about based on their current trajectory that we're hearing about here. What do you think, OJ?
I want Xenoblade, and I'm hoping that we get something from there. I would like a port of X. I think that would be that's the final one. So if they could port X somehow, get that ready to go, and then also have an announcement of a new Xenoblade game maybe early in the year and mirror what they did in 2017, that would be my prediction, is that we get a new Xeno 3 that's actually made specifically for the Switch and not using what they did before, because all the other games either Wii or Wii U. Even Xenoblade Chronicles 2 built off of what they did with the Wii U. So that's what I'm predicting and I'm hoping. But I think, I've heard enough to think that, Xenoblade is going to be an early announcement that maybe launch later in the year, just like they did with Xenoblade 2, when it was announced in January, then it launched in December, which nobody thought it would launch that year. Back then, everyone said it wasn't happening. So, predicting Xeno. I'm not sure what else they can do. I might have some more predictions as we go along here. But Xeno for sure for me. And maybe we get Golden Sun. I think that Golden Sun has been something that for a long time there's been some rumors, just been nothing too solid with Golden Sun in terms of rumors, but there has been some rumors. Camelot, we know, is done with Mario Golf. They finished it off. They're done. So I think that Golden Sun is also a possibility to resurrect it. Maybe not a big AAA. It's not the biggest, but maybe they do something in the realm of bringing back an older Golden Sun game or making a new Golden Sun game. So I think those are kind of what I'm thinking about, but there could be more. Mario Strikers is also a game that's potentially what is Next Level Games doing, right? They finished Luigi's Mansion 3. There's no more DLC. So Mario Strikers could also be a good candidate in terms of, and they just purchased them, right? So they just purchased them. So, that could also be something else that they're working on as well.
Okay, let's go through some of these then. All right. So yes or no, do we think there will be a new 3D Mario game in 2022?
No. But I do want to say my prediction is
okay, 3 no's to 1 yes.
I think Kirby is going to be kind of treated as this as next year's Mario. That the Forgotten Land, I think they're going to push that the way they pushed Odyssey real hard.
Okay. So the majority right now says we'll go with no. All right.
If it happens, then make sure you point out that I said yes, but then if it doesn't happen, just keep me on the no.
Excellent.
Flip-flop, OJ.
We flip-flop it out here. Magic card. Let's go.
Breath of the Wild 2 does make 2022.
No.
100%.
Yes.
No. Does not.
I'm kind of going to no. I'm thinking early 2023.
Man.
Yep. When they said what was the wording they said?
They said we're aiming for.
Yeah.
That's the one that got me. That means it's not coming out early next year, and they don't have faith.
And here's my question to you guys: what is going to be the holiday game for next year?
You know what? Hold on. This is split. We're going to the chat. We're going to the chat on this one. They decide. Let's see.
So a little bit of information on the latest Nintendo voice chat over on IGN. Paris Snyder says he feels 2022, 100%.
Let's see. Make 2022. We'll go to the chat
for yourself, OJ.
My specific prediction is I bet we're not going to see it for most of the year, and then I think at E3 they're finally going to show us a bunch of gameplay, and then they're going to announce like a November 6th release date, and that's going to be their holiday game. That's my very specific prediction.
OJ, what does Anuma-san say?
All right, we're going to the chat. The chat can vote.
Has he said anything about the game?
Exactly. I don't think it's coming. I feel like the wording was like, I agree with Jordan. I just kind of felt like they're going to push hard to get it for next year, but I feel like it's going to slip out of next year.
They said that so they can ease the disappointment if it doesn't make next year.
Disappointment.
Or else they would have been like, hey, it's coming out next year, which they can still delay it at that point, but they wanted to ease everyone's expectations of if it doesn't. So
it's split in the chat too. It's 49-51. Wow, man.
Who's favored?
Noah's favored right now. Wow.
Noah's favored. Damn, haters in chat.
Close. Yeah, because I said no. MG said no.
It would just be so.
I don't know. I think a March release date for 2023 sounds.
It's 2 and 2. Yeah, you guys got it split 2 and 2. That's interesting. Okay.
It's like, why would they announce it in 2019 if it was going to be coming out in 2023? That just seems to be so awkward.
Yeah, what if Metroid Prime?
that got rebooted though.
Bayonetta
that got rebooted. Zelda didn't get rebooted.
When did Halo Infinite get announced? Was it 6 years ago?
What Halo do?
Because everyone freaked out about if everybody didn't freak out about the graphics, we would have had it. Everybody didn't freak out about the graphics.
Okay, how about this one? This is a good one. Does Metroid Prime 4 get a full re-reveal and a reveal, full re-reveal kind of, but reveal in 2022?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I still don't think it's going to be super substantial. I'd say less than 5 minutes of gameplay for the entire year.
Okay, but like a full reveal, like they acknowledge it in like video form, not just like, hey, we're still working on it. Like they actually show the game.
They show the game because they've acknowledged it multiple years, but they show, okay.
I'm thinking that somewhere in the year, whether it's early or like right at the beginning of the fall season, like to keep it in your mind, they release the trilogy with whether the first game is remade or touched up or not, and then we get Metroid Prime 4 as the big holiday game.
Look at the poll. The poll is split 50-50 down the middle.
It's so close. Yeah. Wow.
Damn.
That's awesome.
The yes has got it now.
Is Samus going to pose on a hill overlooking the giant valley and have the whole internet say it's Breath of the Wild? Because I bet that's going to happen.
It flipped to yes. Oh, we might
Hold
be
on,
going
I'm
yes
logging
on
my
that
bots in.
side.
Hold on, let me.
Bring in the bot farm.
We might be going yes on that one.
Real quick, I know we'll probably talk about Metroid Prime 4 more later, but I have to get your thoughts on this, guys. Do you think the gimmick for Metroid Prime is open and like Samus can travel to different places in her ship and go to different worlds like they did with like Metroid Prime 3?
I
think that's the gimmick.
But I mean, it's going to be open world with the Metroidvania stuff thrown into it, where you have to get things to go to the newer areas in the open world. So.
It'll be semi-open. I don't think you're just going to be dropped off on a planet. It's like, all right, go figure it out.
Like multiple planets. Like there hasn't been many games that's multiple planets. So like Metroid Prime 3, I think was the only one. Or
I do think it'll be a big adventure.
I have a feeling it's going to be just like the way Arkham Asylum or Arkham City was, where there's going to be a map and you can kind of go places. And then as you get abilities, you can go into more styles of dungeon and solve more puzzles. But it'll be one big area that you slowly get to finally see all the parts of.
Okay. Will there be a Wii or Wii U port?
Water is wet. Yes.
Well, which one though? Well, I mean, what's left?
X.
Xenoblade X. Yeah.
So if they don't do Xenoblade Chronicles, well, I mean, they could do. All right. So do we count Twilight Princess and Wind Waker? Because technically, those are GameCube games.
Yeah, I would count those because it would be the Wii U version, right?
I would count them, and yes, they would be the Wii U version. So I would say yes, there is.
Yeah, in that case, I would say yes because I think that's going to happen.
Who's the team that did the Wii U game originally, Twilight Princess? That team, we haven't heard from them in a while. I forgot they're like an Australian team or something like that. I forgot their name. Somebody in the chat will probably pop up.
Yeah, I'll patch them through right now.
But yeah, that team is working on something because they always drop hints like, hey, yeah, we're doing something with Nintendo. So there's that. But also, could we see maybe like a different, like what was it, Link's Awakening? So maybe we get like another Zelda game from like a different
Oracle of
system.
Ages or Seasons.
Yeah, like something like that.
You saying Grezzo's doing something?
Yeah, maybe Grezzo. I mean, what are they up to?
Yep.
You know,
maybe. Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, they went yes. Okay, so we're going yes on that one, but I'm gonna make a note that we were split and went to the chat. We polled the audience. All right. Okay, so we have all of the games. Let's talk about the online service then. So we just had 5 Genesis games released randomly. There was no like prior announcement or anything to it. They're just like they're out. That was kind of it. There you go. 5 more Genesis games, all of which I think are on that Genesis collection, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there were anything different from what's already available on that.
M2 confirmed that they worked on the Switch Online stuff. Did you see that?
They did.
Yesterday.
I mean, no one complains about the Genesis stuff because it's actually good. Like, it's fine. Like,
It's perfect.
It's Genesis though, so it's not like impressive. Like, if the 64 was perfect, I'd be like, oh wow, it's pretty good. Genesis is like business as usual, right? We've seen it do that well on the Switch already through the Genesis collection, so we expect it there. So the Switch Online, going into 2022, we have actually several systems now they could release updates for: Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, N64. Do we think a new system will be added in 2022?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
no. I'm gonna say yes and no. It depends on what happens.
I'm gonna go with my boy Nate the Hate, who's not here, and say that Game Boy is still on the list.
I think Game Boy will be added, and I almost wonder if Game Boy Advance will get dropped in that expansion tier.
I don't think Game Boy Advance will, John, but I think Game Boy and Game Boy Color will be.
Man.
Okay.
I guess, well, I guess I actually forgot about the Game Boy stuff. For some reason, I kind of thought that was already officially announced.
You locked it in already. You said.
Oh, you're right. You know, I'll take the L.
I'm putting it as yes. I'm putting it as yes. Do you think a Pokemon game comes with it though? Do you think they drop yellow or red or blue on there?
The trading card game.
Trading card, yeah, T70,
You got
baby.
to default to Jordan on this one.
I don't think they'll release the trading card game one only because it's obsolete to today's rules.
Yeah,
and
it's so
they
old.
don't
It's
want
broken.
that out. Yeah,
Yeah, it's so ghetto and old.
Hey,
but yeah,
still a good game.
Wigglytuff can one-shot everybody in that game.
I wouldn't be surprised if a Pokemon game shows up, since that like whole rumored like collection never really was a thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they got one of the Pokemon games, or at least red or blue, or if not, one of those in yellow, because yellow's a little bit different. Something like that.
How about this one? All right, so we have, I will say, a Game Boy, new system. Does GoldenEye release on the online service this year, 2022?
Oh, asking the real questions. I don't think so, John. I really, really want it to, but I don't think so.
Yeah, it'd be too cool.
I'll say yes, only because I'll be optimistic with the surprises they're going to choose for it. So I'll say yes, they're going to figure it out.
I don't know. This is tough. Does GoldenEye go to it? I almost want to say.
So make a scorecard of all the yeses and nos. We'll be graded on this next year.
I kind of want to say yes, but that is tough.
Well, let me ask a follow-up question to that. Even though it's not Nintendo related, if that happens, does then Xbox Live get the remake?
So here's one of the reasons I think GoldenEye would go over Perfect Dark, as weird as it sounds. Perfect Dark would make the service rated M, whereas GoldenEye would keep it rated T then.
It is the 25th anniversary of the game next year. So that's definitely something, to add as a potential plus for it being there. But I don't know, like if GoldenEye ends up on NSO, then I feel like that Xbox Live Arcade version needs to come back as well.
I would be okay with that. That'd be cool because it looked really good.
I agree.
I mean, we've already played it on the 360, but like think about that brought up to the Xbox Series platforms. Maybe they get to do a little extra work, have it fully online.
I think Perfect Dark is the game that's coming, not GoldenEye.
Okay. Gonna work. Do we think there's any substantial update when it comes to the eShop?
Nope.
Well, I mean, it's already making billions of dollars. They don't care.
Nope.
I'm gonna say no as well because substantial
music?
to me,
Or like layout?
honestly, that would work for me.
Nope.
Anything
Nope.
like that actually like alters it heavily to where you're like, okay, yes,
Well, like actual reviews or something.
I mean, yeah, that a rating system.
Does hovering over the game and it showing like flash screenshots count as an upgrade?
Right.
So maybe something small like they did like this past year, yeah, maybe something like that. But anything bigger, no.
Okay, folders. Do we get folders next year?
No.
Nope.
No. We're not
Absolutely
getting
not.
themes. We're not getting folders.
I was gonna say,
No
I'm
themes,
just gonna
no
group that
folders.
together. No themes or folders.
No themes,
happening.
no folders.
Man.
But I guarantee you, here's the one thing that we'll get: a stability patch, multiple stability patches to make sure it's stable.
Wow.
That's good.
Because you can never not be stable enough, you know?
True.
Okay, here's the real question. Do we get any kind of new hardware? As in like legit hardware, not like a Ring Fit Adventure 2 where they got
Yo,
2 rings now
yo.
or something.
Hey Evan, can you somehow play the "Here We Go Again" meme? Or can we?
It's too much work.
Can we put him in the corner? Can we put CJ in the corner? Here we go again.
So new system hardware, new system.
We
I'm
need
gonna
Nate-
say
we need Nate here for this.
I
would say
100%. I'm a 100% die on the hill that we're getting a Switch Pro, and I think all the games at E3 are going to be shown, and they're going to say at the bottom Switch Pro.
I do think we're getting a Switch Pro.
I'm
or
drinking the
some
Kool-Aid.
sort of it.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
But here's
Stop
the,
the
here's
Dreamcast
the
guy.
stipulation: it doesn't launch until Zelda's ready. And I think
yeah.
if Zelda's delayed until 2023, I think it launches with Zelda like the original game did.
I honestly don't know anymore. I
I'm
really
gonna
don't.
say,
I
I'm
really
gonna
don't know
say
anymore.
yes, there is gonna be new hardware, but I think it's gonna be a Switch Lite with an OLED screen.
You shut your whore mouth. Why would you say that?
Yeah, well, that could happen. That could happen. Yeah.
Switch Lite with like a smaller screen, Switch, or it could be like a Zelda Switch edition. OLED. So is that
I feel
new?
like they're gonna fit the OLED into it, and it's a change in hardware technically because it's new. I mean, the Switch OLED is considered a new piece of hardware, so there you go.
Yeah, I put stock into that. I think a Switch Lite OLED or OLED Switch Lite, whatever you call it, will probably be what we get next year.
I would actually like that. That'd be a cool system actually to have. Like, it would actually make sense because it's like
Yeah, called the O-Lite.
The O-Lite. Okay, and then here's a good one. All right, you ready? Will there be rumors of the next gen Switch this year?
Isn't there rumors every year?
Well, when you say rumors, what, like from Bloomberg or just in general? Or
I was gonna say, will Nintendo mention like how they mentioned the NX and then they took a year to release it after mentioning it for the first time? Like if they actually got asked by investors, "Hey, what's next for the Switch?" and they're like, "We're working on something.
Yeah,
it's codenamed this." Would they go that far? But then I'm like, I don't know if that'll actually happen. Unless
I think they'll say. I think they'll say they're working on something, but I don't think there's going to be a code name. Or
so
anything.
how about this? Nintendo acknowledges that the next gen Switch is coming, or something like that.
Yes,
I hope the way that the way they keep saying the sequel to Breath of the Wild is what they're calling Breath of the Wild 2. I think it'd be funny if they came out and said the sequel to the Nintendo Switch is in development.
Because I'm thinking like even towards the end of 2022 that they mention it at some point, but basically before December 18th next year, they've mentioned that there is a next gen Switch coming at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the NX, they announced the NX, and then a year later they released the Switch, basically, from what I remember. So would they talk about the next Switch in November, and then the following year, like March, something release it? Let me see. Do I have any other questions? I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 questions actually, and I recorded mostly our overall majority response to them. This could be fun to look back on. We'll do PlayStation next week or the week after. Next week we're probably just going to do a pre-recorded Spawncast because that's Christmas. So I think that's what we'll do during the week. But maybe we'll go over PlayStation and then we'll do Xbox the following week, and we'll come back and see how close we were to anything. So,
dude, yeah,
that's fun. Yeah. Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
Any games you guys have played that helped you overcome sadness or a tough time in life?
Borderlands.
Fire Emblem Three Houses. Absolutely. I was at my lowest point that year, and it really helped me put perspective on life and stuff. Oh, sorry. Did I say Three Houses? Fire Emblem Awakening. Fire Emblem Awakening. What the hell am I? Three Houses.
I was like, that's pretty recent.
I was chilling when Three Houses came out. Never mind. Fire Emblem Awakening. My daughter was born around the same. She was about a year old. So yeah, it was tough back then.
For me, Skyrim. The week that Skyrim came out, my grandma died, and it was a real bad death, and it kind of made the whole family sad. And my workplace at the time gave me 10 days paid leave. So I just sat there and played Skyrim and kind of like processed, the matriarch of the family being gone and dealt with the funeral and stuff. And in a weird way, having this big giant fantasy world and arrow to the knee memes really made me really got me through that.
Okay. You got another one, Evan?
Could Spawnwave do a part 2 to a PS5 controller mod, one adding clicky buttons, mouse click triggers, paddle mods, or whatever?
Probably. I don't really know if people are that interested in the PS5 controller buttons, but I mean, I could. It's something that's completely possible with how they're set up inside and how much room is there between the button and the board. I think I've seen Bob added clicky buttons to the Switch Pro controller as well. So I don't know. It's something to put on the list. I also have a kit that like puts the back buttons on it, and it doesn't look that hard to install. I know, Max, you got that really cool controller there.
This has the clicky mod to it, but what's weird is that it had to lose the haptics. So I don't have I can't have haptic triggers now, but they're just clicky. So it's like the second you click them, you shoot.
So there's no travel to them.
Yeah. So they're better at first person shooters. I kick everybody's ass, but they're you can't in Spider-Man. You don't feel the webs anymore.
See, I like that. That was
yeah. Oh yeah.
Spider-Man. Okay. You got another one, Evan, and I'll go over and look at some of the super chats.
Have y'all heard about the Spanish Pokemon game mess in Latin America? Apparently the translation isn't localized and has words in there that are very inappropriate for children and phrases that just aren't understandable.
I did not know that.
Like what? Pikachu used Thunder Nut and just weird made up shit?
Apparently there's a Latin American release of, I guess, maybe the most recent Pokemon. He doesn't say which one specifically, but I guess the translations aren't good. Or something.
Oh, interesting. I did not know that.
I didn't hear about that.
All right. Let me go over to some of the super chats here. This is from the Great saying, love what you guys do on here. The combos are always interesting and fun. Just got a Series X after not having an Xbox since 3 Red Rings. What are some of the titles I've missed or just good grabs on Game Pass? Well, I'll tell you, I played the Gunk for about 2 hours, and it was very boring. So not that one.
You see my review on Twitter? I said it's a Twitch streamer game, like where you're playing the game and you're just interacting with the stream, and it's like, look at this person suck up some stuff, and it's an emotional experience, but there's no like mechanics built into it outside of that.
The game's about 4 hours long.
Yeah, it's
you can get through it in a sitting. It's not a long game. The problem with it though is that I think visually it looks good with the environments and all this. It's just not very interesting or fun, which is unfortunate. It doesn't ever do much more than you see in the first 5 minutes of the game.
It's missing that SteamWorld Dig 2 type of like hook. You know what I'm saying? Like when you played SteamWorld, like you were just kind of like you can like with the fighting with the enemies, with the different type of upgrades that you would get and stuff, which they have some of that in there, but it's just it seems like they really built that game with Twitch in mind, like of people playing on Twitch and interacting with their chat and emotional experience, whatever type of thing.
I kind of moved on, but it was like that sense of, well, at least I got it on Game Pass, I guess, and tried it, and then that was that.
to the super chatter, I say play all the Gears of War games, because I think Gears of War has always been great, but now on Series X they made it optimized, so a lot of the games run at like 100 FPS. And let me tell you, playing a fast shooter that has the active reload system and stuff, 100 FPS is freaking delicious with those games.
Psychonauts 2 obviously is a big one. Horizon 5. If you're coming from the Red Ring era, there's probably some really good back compat games you can play, like Max said, with frame boosting. Like I'm playing like Dead Space 2 and 3 right now, getting that 60 FPS lock, and it's just like you said, it's just
Max Payne's good. Yeah,
I will add, this doesn't have a frame rate boost or anything, but it's backwards compatible, and that's a Lost Odyssey. You can play it there in 1080p, and it just it looks almost like a PS4 or PS4, like a PS4 or Xbox One game. The graphics in there are extremely well done, so the art style is fantastic, and you only need one disc. So if you just find the first disc, it'll get you the whole. There's 4 discs on the 360. It was a pain in the ass to play back then, but now it's so much better. So yeah, Lost Odyssey is a fantastic. I call it like the real Final Fantasy 13 because I think it's much better than Final Fantasy 13 was. It came out around the same time, so it's made by the same people. You know, the original. You know.
There's a bunch of Yakuza games on Game Pass right now. For the time being, they're leaving Game Pass at the end of this month, but if you just want to try one to see if it's a series you'd be into, I mean, Max obviously is really into it, but Yakuza 0 is leaving at the end of this month. I would download and just try it and see what you think then, because there's a lot of game to play there.
Is Octopath still on there too? Is Octopath Traveler still on?
Yeah, that should still be on there.
Undertale is on there, which is strange. And also a bunch of the random old Final Fantasies are on there. So if I recently played Final Fantasy 12 on my Xbox Series X, like, I mean, seriously, try those games out. Like, play them now while they're free, you know?
Then we have Paleo saying, started replaying Spider-Man on my PS5 after seeing No Way Home. The PS4, Peter Parker is still my favorite in recent years. What's yours?
That's mine too, yeah. I've been rereading a bunch of the comics, and I feel like the comics are good, but the Spider-Man comics are so sloppy. Sometimes Peter Parker like beats people to death. It's like he's really angry. I was reading a comic recently where Peter Parker threatens a guy in an ER. He like threatens to beat up a doctor and says, "Do you know who I am? I'm Peter fucking Parker." Real cringe. I'm glad that the PS4 Spider-Man, he's a real good guy.
Voxel says, beat Final Fantasy 14 Shadowbringers last week. Got to be one of the best gaming experiences I've had in a while. Also, what's the best way to play Final Fantasy 13? Probably on the Xbox. So they did like a bunch of extra work to it. It's on Game Pass, but they upscaled it. It has auto HDR and all this stuff. So that's probably the best place to play.
Xbox Series X or S, either one, faster loading and everything. It's very good to play it on there.
Day says, can Breath of the Wild 2 really reinvent the genre again? Lightning doesn't strike twice, right? Can't wait either way.
That's a good question. I mean, I don't think so, but it's still going to be magnificent, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's going to be Majora's Mask.
It's going to be. It's going to be interesting that whole mechanic of going through walls and stuff. That I could see some seriously good puzzles being done with that in shrines. So, and also we don't even know how the world is going to be done. We're envisioning Breath of the Wild, but what if they decide to take it in a whole different direction? What if we have just actual dungeons again?
Yeah,
I mean, you can see that there's sky areas. There's clear areas and like locations that you can go in the sky. It seems like he's underground. Link is underground as well when he's fighting that one enemy. It also looks like you can dual wield in the game, you know, with that from what we've seen there. And it also does seem like they're going to add in quite a number of other mechanics with like the Sheikah Slate is not in his arm and all that. So, I mean, and like there's something going on with his face and like the tattoo that he has on himself. So there's quite a number of things. I don't know if they'll reinvent things, but it's going to be a lot of cool stuff.
It looks like there's going to be a lot of verticality. So rather than just being, for the most part, on one level, you know, maybe we'll be going, like you said, underground to the sky, and maybe it's all seamless. Yeah. That would be crazy, wouldn't it? If you could actually skydive from the sky all the way down to the ground and you just basically go between everything.
The whole Lemillion thing that he can do, though, is freaking incredible. That just looks like it's going to be so much fun to solve puzzles or to do stuff with that.
I do seriously think this is going to be a Majora's Mask situation where they're going to take the established rules, twist them up, and then make a new story out of it. So I don't think that this is going to be like quite at the caliber of Breath of the Wild, but I just mean that because Breath of the Wild is like one of the best games maybe ever.
Well, that's such a departure for the series. Now we're like, okay, we weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a better game, but it's just not going to have that holy shit factor because. Yeah. I mean, Breath of the Wild was just one of those moments in video games that just blew you away. This one's going to be, I feel like they're just going to tweak the game where it needs to be, like what OJ said, plus adding dungeons and things like that. I feel like they're going to add enough variation and variety to this one where it's going to be the better overall game. But as you know, to the original Super Chat question, it's not going to, have that, oh my God, moment.
MVG, you know what it's going to be like? It's going to be like Ocarina of Time and Twilight Princess, They're not direct right after, but like Ocarina of Time was like the whole, oh my gosh, Twilight Princess does everything better than in terms of how it runs, a lot of different stuff, gameplay mechanics. It's better, but nobody sees Twilight Princess as that, oh my gosh, but it's, for the most part, it does everything better. I mean, that could be the situation here,
This is from Dragoon saying, in relation to the new Dragon Ball movie trailer that came out, do you think there will be a new Dragon Ball game coming out next year?
There is.
I hope so.
Breakers, yeah.
Something better than Breakers. I hope so.
I played Breakers. I didn't hate it.
Something tells me we're just getting more Xenoverse DLC or Kakarot DLC.
What type of game could they make, though? Because Kakarot just came out not too long ago. I mean, they could make a follow-up to that. Dragon Ball FighterZ, I guess it's on its way out, right?
They could just do the classic anime game thing where they just make the same anime game with different skins for the characters.
If they're doing these weird, why are you doing a spin-off like Breakers? All right, do the sequel to Attack of the Saiyans. All right,
yes.
Call it Legend of the Super Saiyan and just cover the Namek saga.
Yeah, dude, that would be fantastic if they did like a turn-based.
Yes.
I mean, but I think people just maybe don't want to play that. That just is hard. I
want to play it. They just make it for me.
I know you would, but a turn-based Dragon Ball Z game just seems like a tough sell to spend a lot of money for people out there. You see what I'm saying? But no, John, trust me. Yeah, I want. That's the best Dragon Ball Z game. To me, that's my favorite one is Attack of the Saiyans.
It's really good. It's really good.
Freaking incredible. So yeah, I mean, and if it was made by Monolith Soft, that would even be like I think I might.
That'd be crazy. Yeah.
I think I might fake live if that ever happened. I mean, but
This is from Faye saying Square could rent server space surely from Microsoft, have it on Game Pass, and lend us X amount of servers. Love you all. I don't know. Square's gonna have to do something. Maybe they do have to make a deal or something. I'm not sure how all that works in the background with those kind of deals. This is from Yum saying, shout out, happy birthday, Anna Dominique Falcon.
That's a hell of a cool name. I wish I had a cool name like that. Jeez.
Venom says, it's unrelated to the topic, but I'm just happy the Bleach anime is coming back after 10 years. It's trending number 7 on YouTube.
Yes, Bleach is back. I watched that whole series when I was in college, and I love Bleach. So it's so good to see Bleach coming back.
Is that a remake or are they just continuing it? Continuation?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Back.
PM says, is the GameStop pre-owned deal worth it? Hesitant as I don't want to receive only the disc or bad quality games, then ask, are Steelbooks worth it for the games? Steelbooks are pretty cool just to have them, but GameStop is a roll of the dice. That's the only problem.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that now.
It's luck of the draw. Sometimes you'll be lucky and get like a minty copy of something. Usually you just get the disc.
You want to go into if anything, go to the store, because then if they don't have the case, you can just leave.
I got a video coming. I got the crustiest copy of Breath of the Wild. So wait, oh man, it was. I don't trust GameStop. I wouldn't trust them, dude.
Joe says Japanese gamers have been angry at Sony for things like censoring third-party games, switching cross and circle for PS5. Do you think that's contributing to the PS5 sales woes in Japan? No, I just think Sony's priorities are US, Europe, Japan, and just it hasn't hasn't trickled down to Japan for Sony to feel good about that yet. So
yeah, they're just focusing on the markets that they feel that they're going to do best in. I mean, they tried with their Sony Japan studio, didn't work out. So
yeah,
so it is what it is, at this point.
Vluxian says facial expression animations will be set to 1,000% in the next Mass Effect. There we go.
I'm ready just to make up for it.
I'm ready for the Unreal Engine 5 Mass Effect. Let's do it. I've changed my mind. It's okay.
Georgie says, like usual.
Expect Forspoken and Final Fantasy 16 to bomb. Dragon Quest 12 can't say the PS5. Oh, because of the sales in Japan right now.
Wait, no. Wait, hold up.
Final Fantasy 16 is going to do well just because 15 did well enough. I don't see any issues there.
Final Fantasy sells the most here in America.
Yeah, so I would say that Final Fantasy's shifted more and more towards the Western audience anyway.
Final Fantasy 15 did do well at launch for Japan. It did really well. Dragon Quest did really well at launch, but yeah, the residual sales are something of concern because PlayStation's brand is not as strong as it was. But the sales are going to be huge here in America and Europe for Final Fantasy. Yeah. So yeah, nothing to worry about.
Boot says got a Series X, 0% interest 6 days after ordering. Oh, okay,
nice, good deal.
Let's see. Demi Crow says, anyone play Yuji Naka's new mobile game? I have not.
Nope.
I saw it on Twitter. Maybe I'll check it out.
Did it real? Oh wow, he already put. I thought he was talking about working on it. He already put it out.
It's just some like weird. It's like, what are those little dice that have all those? It looks like it's like a. I forgot what type of dice it is. It's not like normal cube dice, but they're like really weird looking dice for certain board games.
Interesting. Okay.
And a bunch of
Like
different colors.
D20s
Like
and
a
stuff?
50, like a 50-sided die or something.
Yeah, like those really weird looking ones. It's like that, and then like you play on like a board, and like it's something like that. I did see it on Twitter, but I didn't download it. I guess it's like a mobile game or something like Android.
Should have done Velen too.
Let's go to Splinter Cell.
Let me exit right here. All
right, Max.
A Witcher party. Much love, everybody. Good talking, and happy Christmas. But just happy Christmas to chat since we're pre-recording next week. But
All right.
Merry Christmas,
Max.
dude.
Max.
Later, Max.
Max is gonna have Witcher sex right now. I'm almost positive that's just something gonna go.
Let's go to Splinter Cell, because it felt like a random announcement. I don't know if that was just me. They just showed up and they were like, hey, we're remaking Splinter Cell, like the original one from 2002.
Let's be honest. They announced it because they got completely dragged after the NFT announcement. And
they're like, push that press release, push it.
Yep, exactly.
We need some good press. Emo was like, we need some good press. get the Splinter Cell.
But because they've been talking about it for a while, just like, maybe we could do something with Splinter Cell. I don't know, maybe. And then they just randomly showed up and they were like, yeah, we're doing Splinter Cell. It's a remake. And they had a trailer and it was just footage of the original Splinter Cell. They didn't even have anything to really show other than like the shot of the 3 green lights. And they're like, we're working on it.
It's going to be a Prince of Persia remake type thing.
No, well, okay. So this, I think, is going to go over a bit better. I think the Prince of Persia studio was a bit overwhelmed and under budget for the most part, based on what everyone was saying. And this looks like they're putting one of their more talented studios on it. That being Ubisoft Toronto.
So it's going to be more like a like maybe Twin Snakes type of thing, like where they completely redo the whole thing. And
yeah, right? This is the studio who did Far Cry 6, and Far Cry 6 is good except for the Ubisoft factor that's added in, which is the open world with 10,000 points. If it's not for that, it's mechanically sound. The shooting element is good, and it has full co-op, which is something that Halo Infinite has not been able to get right yet in an open world game. Like, they managed to do all of that. The only thing that was a little weird is the character models felt off looking at them, but it's an open world game. Whereas this game apparently is going to be more linear. It's not going to be an open world Splinter Cell. It's going to follow the formula that's already been laid.
Yeah. And I think that you bring up a good point, because we heard that it's the studio or the team that did Far Cry 6. So everyone's assuming it's going to be, an open world Splinter Cell game with all sorts of waypoints on a map. But it's going to just be a remake of the first game, which I think it's a good place to start, right? I mean, if you're going to attempt to bring back Splinter Cell to a modern audience, because it's one of those games where it's beloved by so many people, but it's also in a lot of danger of just becoming irrelevant, in 2021 and beyond, right? Like, it's one of those games where, we want it to come back, but the average person probably doesn't even care, So I think the way that they're approaching this, at least based on what they've told us, is the right approach, giving it the Snowdrop engine and, giving it those enhancements that it needs. But honestly, I mean, how far away is this game? It's probably 3 years out at least.
I think it's 3 years out. Yeah. I think it's going to be a little while. It is, I think, coming at a good time, though. Like you said, I did a poll because I like to do this with some of these games when they get these announcements, or ones I think could get announced. 59% of the 62,000 people polled said they have not played the original Splinter Cell before.
That does not surprise me. It doesn't surprise me because, I mean, like I said, it's been such a long time since that game
almost 20
out.
Years ago.
Yeah.
Almost 20. It's crazy. 20 years ago or so, Splinter Cell started. And it was announced before that because obviously they're running magazine ads and all this stuff. They had a deal with Microsoft to get on the Xbox first, then it went to like the PS2 and all of this. But yeah, 20 years ago, Splinter Cell was coming about. It's so weird to think it's been 2 decades since Splinter Cell, but that just means newer gamers have cycled in and they didn't play games back then. Maybe the PS4 was their first system, for example, you know? So that would be a brand new experience to them. But you can't put that Splinter Cell in front of them from back then. It just, even if you did a little remaster, it's just, if you really want to have Splinter Cell, like, if you want to give it a shot, you gotta remake that thing in Snowdrop.
Yeah, I agree.
But this one could be so much more. It could be so much more epic because, like, think about like the ray tracing. When we can finally see what ray tracing is all about, right? Because that was what the game was all about, like the light and the shadows and everything. So this could be finally the game where it's like, hey, if the ray tracing here, this really makes a huge difference in the experience. I was a big fan of the original Splinter Cell. I got it. Well, I rented it. I couldn't afford it at the time, but I rented it multiple times and beat it. I thought it was fantastic. I beat it on multiple systems too. I played it on everything. I thought it was so good because I love Metal Gear. So yeah, I'm excited for it, but at the same time, it's like, wait a minute. Then what MVG says comes crashing down. It's like, this game's not coming for like, years.
Yeah,
so
it's going to be a bit like they might show it like at E3 forward, like an actual trailer or something. Maybe they have some early footage they can show, but it's going to be a while. I think MVG might be right with about 3 years. Maybe they're lucky for holiday 2023, but I don't know. I guess the one benefit is they don't have to create a brand new game concept story. It's already there. So, I mean, if they can build off it, and if they get experience with Splinter Cell in the Snowdrop engine, might make development for the next Splinter Cell, if they decide to greenlight it, like a bit easier as well.
They have a huge uphill battle, to one, get this game done and then really market it well and have it sell a lot of copies when it comes out. I mean, because every year I feel like people ask for a Splinter Cell game. Going back to the launch of like the Xbox One, right, in 2013 and the PS4, we've always wanted another Splinter Cell game and it's just never come. And I feel like they should have just done this a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, started working on this game because I think, maybe not this year, but like maybe next year or the year after would be a really good time to drop a new Splinter Cell game. Now they're kind of behind the 8 ball, right? They're going to be in the middle of this generation. And who knows, what they're going to be up against when this game comes out. It could be the big Microsoft games that, are in development like Perfect Dark and Fable. I mean, it really makes me feel like they're under a lot of pressure on
that would be weird to think about that. We'd be in like 2023 or 2024, whatever, and it's like, up here's Splinter Cell versus Perfect Dark. It'd be like we're back in like the late 90s and like early 2000s. That'd be interesting to see that happen.
All we need is Siphon Filter just to kind of round out.
Yeah, right. Sony needs to get on that. Let's go, Sony. Let's get that done. Let's get that done. You know what? I am hopeful about this. My concern is if they try to make a brand new Splinter Cell game, what they do to that. At least the groundwork's already been laid here. It is interesting they did the original one. I guess Chaos Theory that looks good enough for a lot of people. So they're like, it doesn't really need the remake treatment. Let's start with the original one and we'll go from there.
They have to go back to the basics. They have to just go back to the original. If they're going to do this, you can't, it's been so long. You can't go to Chaos Theory, right? You'd have to start.
Yeah, the thing I liked about Chaos Theory is they had that multiplayer that really, I think they really figured out then, which was spies versus mercenaries.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, I don't think they're going to do. I mean, they could do a gameplay with it or a game element, so it's like multiplayer. But I think they're just going to go straight up single player with this. And I almost wonder then, like the original Splinter Cell is like a super long game, so I wonder if they're going to add extra stuff in to pad it out a little bit. They're used to making something like a Far Cry 6 that takes forever to beat. So it's going to be maybe a little weird. Hey, maybe that means they get this one done faster because they're used to making something like a Far Cry 6. I don't know.
It really depends, doesn't it? I mean, it just depends on the budget that this team gets. Because, like, again, it's only just the announcement, so we don't really know. But we don't know how many developers are on this project.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, Jordan mentioned Prince of Persia. Look, it's not going to be a Prince of Persia, but what if it's like, a team maybe a little bigger than that and a budget larger than that, but not substantially. So I do wonder what kind of game this is going to end up being. I mean, I think it's going to be AAA with the appropriate budget and team, but it really could be anything. So I don't necessarily know if it's going to be longer than the original. Part of me feels like they're going to condense it, maybe cut some of the fat from the original game, because it was quite a long game when it came out back in the day, if you recall.
Yeah, it'll be. Like I said, I'm more concerned about what they do with an original Splinter Cell. If they try to push it to open world and all of this, but I guess we'll find out when this one comes out, 2023, 2024.
I'm excited though, because like if they pull this off, because I like when Splinter Cell came out on the OG Xbox. Remember how incredible that game looked?
It was pretty ridiculous.
The shadows and the light going through. They
had the shot of the fan spinning, and it was like the light was coming through. Like, this is insane. I've never seen this before. You know,
ridiculous shadow and lighting tech. You know, even back in 2003, whenever the game came out, 2004. Now with modern engine technology, potentially the ability to add ray tracing in this game. I don't know if they will. Hopefully they do.
A split jump.
Jump in the hallway. All that stuff really could look incredible. So I am interested to see where it goes. But I mean, it's going to be 3 years before we probably see the game. Let's be honest.
I hope they surprise us and it's like 2 years from now. Like we're playing it in like holiday 2023.
I guess if it has no multiplayer, I think that's one way that, they can...
Is it the full 70 then? Because this is probably going to be a next gen game, right? It's not going to be current gen. It's not going to be on it's not going to be on, we assume, Xbox One or PS4 if it's 2 years at the earliest from now. Like those will be long retired. Yeah.
Splinter Cell does not have the clout anymore to go with 70. I just think, I think I might, if it's a super good game, I might pay 70 for it. But do you guys really think that PlayStation, Xbox, like for 70 for Splinter Cell for a remake, that might be death for the game if they do that.
That'll be tough. I don't know how they price that thing. That's where we're in this weird situation now, because it'd be easier for them to be like, it's 60, whatever. But that 70, that $10 does kind of make people stop for a minute and think a bit. They're like,
it definitely
they have to pick their battles. It's either $70 Ubisoft games or NFTs. So pick your poison here. If you let them do the NFTs, hey, maybe they'll go back down to 60. We don't know.
I compare this to like the Dead Space remake. Like this kind of feels the same as that, right? Like, although this one seems like it's much further away than Dead Space, which, I don't know how long that's going to be, maybe another 2 years, but whatever. Whatever Dead Space kind of prices their game at, I feel like Splinter Cell would kind of follow. So maybe the $50 price point for a game like that.
It would be a slam dunk, because it's like, okay, let me just get it, at 50, it's just, let me just get it, but
that'd be a fun playthrough, even on like stream actually going through that game. That'd be a good time.
Absolutely. It'd be fantastic. People don't realize how good Splinter Cell is, because we haven't had a good Splinter Cell when was the last time that people said,
they went big time action on that? And that was the problem. They got away from what made Splinter Cell back in the day, which was like you stealthed around. You were still this one-man army basically, but it was all about getting in and out without necessarily setting off alarms and like letting everyone know what you're doing. And like Chaos Theory is the last time I remember I was like, this is incredible. Like this is
I liked Blacklist. I didn't think it was bad.
Yeah.
I thought
but like the thing with Chaos Theory that I still remember is when I got it on the original Xbox, it had like bump mapping on the ground and it looked crazy. Like if you compared it to a PS2 version of it or GameCube, it looked way different.
Yeah.
And it was almost like that next gen, but during the current gen moment where I'm like, wow, the Xbox is a lot more capable than I realized compared to these other systems. But I feel like that's the last time I felt like Splinter Cell was like really Splinter Cell.
That's true. I didn't get that feeling with Blacklist. I just felt like, okay, well, it's a new Splinter Cell, and I'm gonna play it because it's Splinter Cell, But then there was some mess ups in between. There was Double Agent. There was some where they jacked some things up at times too. In between. So it's been rough for the past.
You climb up the lighthouse right in the beginning. It's raining. You pull the guy out over the ledge. Oh man, that's just like those moments just stick with you.
I kind of like all of them. Like even Double Agent, I thought was fine. I mean, it wasn't the best in the series, but there's a charm about all those games. But for me, I would say Chaos Theory is probably the
Pandora Tomorrow, where you're sneaking up the train, and those are the days.
Some good stuff. And hopefully, and I don't know if Michael Ironside will be involved in this remake, but hopefully they do have his voice in this game because he is Sam Fisher. Yeah. So hopefully, Ubisoft get Michael Ironside.
You got to get him. You can't have a different voice for the original Splinter Cell. Like maybe for like a new one, maybe there's somebody different because he's older or whatever. Although he's kind of already old in the latest ones, but whatever. Or maybe they have a new Sam Fisher. Somebody else becomes the person. But Yeah, I agree. Like for the original, you have to have his voice. It was so good at the time. So good.
Chris Pratt.
There you go.
He's probably, you know what, that
so
might
cool.
happen, dude. That might happen.
Evan, we got Discord questions over there.
Since we're kind of talking about Ubisoft, what is the last Ubisoft game you really liked?
Oh,
Mario plus Rabbids was the last game that I really liked.
That's
that I liked or that I played, because I played Far Cry 6. Doesn't mean
That
I
you
was
liked. That you liked.
I would say Mario versus Rabbids, or maybe Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I thought was pretty good.
Odyssey was all right. Yeah.
I tried Odyssey and I'm just like, I can't. I just can't do it. But yeah,
as many hours as I put into Valhalla, MVG knows that as well. He put the same. Yeah, Odyssey hands down was, I think, the last time I played an Ubisoft game where I was like, yeah, I'm actually really into this.
It might be Odyssey then, because like I said, Far Cry 6, I felt like I just kind of sleepwalked through a lot of it. Yeah.
I didn't even bother. It was the first like Far Cry and release. I went, eh.
Yeah, I liked 6 more than 5. I will say that.
When did let's say Rayman Legends was way before all that.
I think
Rayman Legends was.
Oh, Phoenix Rising as well. That was actually Phoenix Rising wasn't bad.
Yeah,
You know what?
I like Immortals.
I
like
think
Immortals.
Immortals was good because it was a more condensed Ubisoft open world game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. Maybe that. I think
Yeah.
that. I'll go with that because that came out like the same time as Valhalla, and Immortals took me away from Valhalla.
I did like it more than Valhalla. I will say that.
I
Yeah.
haven't played it.
You didn't play Immortals?
I have.
You might
have a sealed PS5 copy. I may actually
might
play it next week because I've got some time off. So
You might like that. I think you'll like that game, MVG. I think it's a better. I think it's a more enjoyable. I'll say Valhalla. It's more condensed. Like it's not. It's like 20 or 25 hours or something.
Doesn't take itself seriously at all.
No. Yeah. So I enjoyed that one. You know, that's what I'll go with. I liked that one. That was a good one. Yeah. What else we got, Evan?
With all the Sonic Collection games that have come out throughout the years, the one game I feel that has been left out is Knuckles Chaotix. Do you think Sega will ever re-release it again for modern systems?
Maybe.
Why haven't they? That's a good. Wait, hold on. They haven't. I'm trying to think.
Will Sonic Adventure 2 ever get released?
Yeah, really.
Sonic
I don't
Adventure
know.
1.
This just blows my mind. Why don't they just do a disc
Gardens
or a collection that has Adventure 1, 2, and then Chaotix? There you go. Throw it all in there. Maybe
You know what? Let me tell you
Go
the real
crazy.
reason why they haven't done 1 and 2. Because the game, they don't want to shatter people's fake illusion of the games being good. That's the thing that they don't. They know that these games aren't that great.
That's every Sonic game. But I think
And that's the reason why they release everything else. They release all their old school
Wait,
stuff
Jordan,
that's good.
have you ever played Sonic Adventure 2?
Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay, I thought
Yeah.
you said you. Okay.
Here's a hey Sega, free idea, free money making idea. This is great, and we know we all have phones, right? So what if since they're just not doing stuff with the Chow Garden, if they just made an app game that's just you taking care of the chows in the Chow Garden, you can upgrade them and do mini games with them and play online with people and show off your
that would
your
actually
chows.
make a lot of money. I bet.
That would be huge for Sega.
Idea, yeah.
Why is this not done yet? I'm not for this usually, but I would drop hella money on that game.
I think that would make a stupid amount of money actually if they did that, like Chow Garden on your phone.
I'm
Chow
telling
Garden on the phone and Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 remakes. I think
we don't need those. We could just keep the Chow Garden.
Remake Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. It would need to be a remake or a really nice remaster of those games that actually fix all the issues. That would be great, and take out the boring parts of some of those games. Make them fun somehow. I don't know. But yeah, Sonic Adventure 1 and 2.
Garden.
And Chow Garden. And Jordan's Chow Garden.
That's all I want.
What else you got, Evan?
Between the upcoming WB games that are Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, and Hogwarts Legacy, which one are you most looking forward to?
I haven't seen anything from Hogwarts.
Yeah, that disappeared. I guess
Gotham to me, man. That's the game.
Gotham Knights, I guess out of the choices.
I think I'm more interested in going through the story of Suicide Squad, but I still don't exactly know how that game is going works.
That looks like
I still don't know what's going on.
That either looks like a multiplayer co-op just with superpowers, or you have to actually switch between characters while everyone's fighting. Like
maybe that's what it is. That's what I mean. I don't think anyone really knows what we're looking at.
It looks like a game. They did say it's games as a service. I thought they did confirm that.
And if it is games as a service,
That's what
this
I
might
thought, too.
actually be a lot closer to the Marvel Avengers game, but possibly actually well designed.
Yeah, good. That's what I'm thinking. It's like Avengers, but good. Yeah, Avengers, but good.
The reason I'm so interested in that is because they're supposed to be like taking out all the members of the Justice League, and I have no idea how they're going to do that at all. So that's what. How are they going to take out Superman or Flash? Or apparently, it looked like Wonder Woman was even fighting on their side at one point. So,
They're just gonna, dude. Didn't you see Invincible? That's what they're gonna do. They're just gonna do that.
Or they're just gonna fix them or something. Like, oh, now they're not under the brain control anymore. Now they're good guys.
Maybe. I don't know. It looked it was all over the place. I need to see how the level structure is going to work. Do we invite people in for a friends list and they fight with us? These are all things I'm not sure of yet.
Rocksteady's good though, so chances are, I mean, even if the structure is not good, the gameplay is going to be like fun. It's going to be like, you know.
And
that's the other reason I'm so interested, because it's Rocksteady. So
yeah, they're also into the lore. So I mean, there's that whole thing where Batman had a list of how he would defeat every individual Justice League member. So maybe they get their hands on it, because I think Deathstroke got his hands on it at some point. Like, yeah, it could involve some stuff like that.
The Gotham Knights though, that game just, to me, I mean, obviously you have like the Batgirl, she's playable, you know, you're gonna have Robin. Like, it just seems like, I love the Arkham Asylum games. I love those games so much, and seeing that again, actually having a dope, you know, Batman game again, I miss that. You know, I miss.
I don't know, multiplayer. They have RPG elements tied into it.
Yeah. I'm curious that.
I'm curious how that's going to work with the co-op stuff, but that's what I'm going to pick up as well and play through it, because I do enjoy those games.
And it's not Rocksteady too, so that also makes me pause just a little bit. Rocksteady's making the Suicide Squad game, like, you know, so that is also a little bit.
The studio for this is they did Arkham Origins. Am I thinking right or am I wrong? Hold on. Who's making this one? Gotham Knights.
The one that I don't like out of that original one.
I got to I have to double check.
Montreal? Is it WB
if it's Montreal doing it? I might be wrong. Sure it's WB Games Montreal.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes, they did Batman Arkham Origins. Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah. So they're doing that one.
Which is, you know, it's okay. Arkham Origins, it's not terrible. It's just not, you know, it doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. Hey,
like Arkham City.
They're getting a lot of time with this one, though. They even delayed it out to make sure it's good. So
I was so happy. When they delayed it, I was like, thank God they delayed it. Good. I was happy. If they want to delay it again, I want this to be the return, because Arkham Asylum and Arkham City are like top 5 Xbox 360 games that I played in that generation. So just delay it, make it good. I don't care. Just make it good, you know?
What do you got, Evan?
Someone's been collecting PSP games this year and noticed that certain copies of games have holes punched in their barcodes. He's noticed it from both factory and sealed copies, and he's wondering if anybody has any idea why that's the case.
I remember this when we would get trade-ins on them, because we couldn't scan the barcode, and I'd get really annoyed. And I don't know why I don't think we ever figured out why that happened. I don't know if that was like they were part of bundles. Like, you'd get a PSP and it was in there, or company, or like Walmart or Target did bundle deals or something. I'm not sure why they have hole punches in the barcodes. Maybe somebody in the chat knows, but I would see that and I'd be like, oh, I got to type it into the computer to look up the game itself now.
I've heard a similar story with the OG Xbox and 360 games. So Microsoft at their HQ have a store, right, where you can buy Microsoft products, and you could buy games from that store. And for some reason, I believe, and I could be wrong, someone's going to correct me, but I believe all the games came hole punched. I don't really know the reason why they did that. So if anyone has any,
some people are saying review copies, and others are saying promo copies.
I mean, maybe, but the problem is with those, they wouldn't play on a retail system. They would play on a test kit, right? Like you would need special hardware to play those copies, most likely. But I could be wrong. I don't know.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. You got another one, Evan?
Yeah, we still got a few left. Do you think the release and praise of the Analog Pocket will cause further price increases for Game Boy and GBA games, even the ones that aren't usually sought after?
Go ahead, John.
I was going to say that the Analog Pocket is already being marked up heavily on eBay. I think you're going to see more of a push towards like EverDrives or something like that even.
Well, no, but the games themselves, like the actual market for the games.
They play physical games, but I mean, to be honest, after what I saw happen with the Super NT and the Mega NT or whatever, the Genesis one, people just figured out how to play these games off of an SD card.
Yeah, plus the price of Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Color games right now are stupid expensive anyway. I don't really think it's going to influence prices going higher. I just think those prices are already pretty high anyway. So, yeah, I don't know.
I hope not. That's what I'm saying. I hope it doesn't get any higher than they already are. Everything's just expensive. Metroid Fusion went up to like almost $100 at one point. It was crazy.
Yes, I have a copy
So,
of
so it's a cool system though.
I do wish I never opened it though.
Oh, when did you open it?
Oh no,
last year?
No. I bought Fusion when it came out, but I kind of wish I kept it sealed.
You can go to next one, Evan.
Let's see. What is the? I don't really understand. What is the biggest mistake you've ever accidentally left in a video game?
Mistake
in a video game?
They said left in a video game. I don't know if they mean ever like took part in. I don't know why they said left. Like
found in a game. Maybe.
Oh, like a mistake left in a game. Well, we played GTA Trilogy a little while ago.
That was a pretty big mistake. Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on in there.
I mean, booting up Cyberpunk was probably the biggest mistake I ever made.
Oh man,
I don't know.
Finishing Cyberpunk maybe was a mistake I made. I don't know. Mistake in a game. I sure we'll go to Cyberpunk. You can just kind of spin around and point. You'll probably hit something.
I mean, if they're talking about bugs in games, I've experienced quite a few in many games over the years, but one that always comes to mind is when I was playing one of the early Assassin's Creed games. I think it was the one that was based in London with the brother and the sister. I can't remember what it was called.
Unity?
It was the one after Unity, I think. But anyway, I got caught in a death loop where like every time
you think it's Syndicate?
Game, yeah, it was Syndicate. That's the one. I was in a death loop, so I was running after someone, and I failed to catch them. So then you get the fail. You know, the game kind of ends, and it says, you know, you failed to catch the person. Start over. And the game was just in this like loop of like this death loop, and I couldn't get out of it. Like,
so you got hard locked, or was it just like the end was just constantly replaying over and over?
It just kept replaying over and over, and there's nothing I could do. And I got onto Ubisoft support, which is not something I do very often, I assure you. And I said, this game is broken, and they're like, yeah, we're looking at it, and they never fixed it.
Oh, how was that?
That was that.
Yeah, another one, Evan.
For Switch fans, the amount of games that were revealed at the Game Awards that will not be coming to the platform was confronting. Thoughts?
Games not coming to the platform.
Yeah, I guess there weren't a lot of Switch reveals at the Game Awards, and that seemed to annoy some people.
I expected it. Because a lot of these developers, they're not going to sit there and make games on the power of Nintendo Switch. They're going to make games to where they feel that they're going to sell. More so than anything. So I've been saying that for the past.
Yeah, and a lot of these games that they're
miss out on a ton of those.
A lot of the games they're showing now too aren't coming out for like 2 or 3 years. There's several of them, and it's like, I mean, by then there might even just be a new Switch out. But I feel like a lot of developers are going to be targeting the PS5 and the Xbox Series X now going forward.
Mm-hmm. And you're going to get anything that we're going to get. It's going to be like announced at directs, right? There's going to be third-party games. There's going to be certain games, but those are going to be made for directs. Those are going to be made to highlight that certain, like to shoot for that certain audience, you know, more so than anything.
I have a conspiracy theory about this. So the Game Awards is at the Microsoft Theater. So I feel like Microsoft gets first pick on what they can show and the time of the awards.
Are you serious? Are you serious?
Dude, conspiracy theory all the way. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on, right?
I thought you were joking at first.
I feel like Nintendo and Sony, like they want to control the marketing around their games, right? So to OJ's point, you know, the best way to do that is to do it in a direct. I don't feel like they necessarily put too much stock into the Game Awards. Sure, they'll have one cool thing maybe that they can show, but I feel like both companies don't really value, like they want to just control the messaging and the marketing around all their games. So I wouldn't worry too much about what was not at the Game Awards for Nintendo. Yeah.
I mean, I think they're trying to say though is that Evan says confronting is that the Switch still isn't like a default choice for a game from developers despite its high sales volume.
Yeah, but that was the same as the Wii. You know, that does not matter to them, which is just, that's just the way it is. Like if you want those games, that you're going to have to go to where the developers are going to make them, and Switch is just that system for that. You know,
What's weird is that the Wii still had like a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, the Wii did have
a couple of them,
and the
right?
Wii U had two.
Had Medal of Honor as well.
And
the Wii.
Those servers are still up. You can still play online.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah, you can still play Call of Duty games on the Wii U online as well.
I have a feeling Activision has tried to do things with Call of Duty on the Switch. That's my thought, and it's just they haven't been able to make it work. That's my assumption. I don't know if that actually.
I think they don't give a damn.
I feel like they've
Probably a little
tried
bit
to
of that.
make it work.
Also,
like somebody there maybe try to do Warzone or something on it.
Yeah, I've also heard that with the most recent game, it's apparently a huge buggy mess. People keep bringing it up in like my mentions on Twitter and stuff. Is
I can see that
they patch it and it just breaks everything, and they're just not
the new
really
Call of
fixing
Duty
it. Yeah.
Vanguard. I just don't think that many people care about Vanguard right now, which is weird because it did well in the. I mean, I kind of expect it to do well in the MPDs, but like, I just don't see a lot of people talking about Vanguard. I don't know. Yeah.
It sucks.
I mean, you will see though more Japanese developers, move things over, so that will happen.
They pretty much have to.
Yeah, they pretty much have to at this point. So you will see that, but when it comes to what the Western developers are doing, it's a whole different thing. So I mean, it's upsetting definitely for some, but at the same time, it is what it is. That's just the way it is, and maybe there'll be a new system that comes out, and maybe some developers will put on that for Nintendo. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, another
should be the last one. Besides marketing purposes and early teasers, why do you think video game companies nowadays often release CGI trailers with no actual gameplay first? Judging from people's, it's pipeline, but it's just
because they don't have their gameplay polished to the point where it'll stand up to people zooming in 1,000% on Twitter.
I mean, they even do this behind the scenes when they're pitching to investors and stuff. We were talking to a developer a long time ago, and he was bringing up that even in investor meetings, they'll show something that looks like a game, but it's all CGI, pre-existing stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just a way to try to get that stuff out there, I guess. Yeah,
it's marketing. They just want to get their ideas out there in visual form and be like, this is what we got. This is what we want to do. And then obviously it's not going to look as good as CGI. But I mean, at this point, you can show off a trailer that looks incredible, like that Hellblade 2, and people still zoom in and try to pick like the blurriest frame and then run around with it. It's such a strange thing out there now. So I honestly think at times the studios just don't have what they feel like is public like ready, and they just come up with a CGI trailer to at least put the title out there.
I also think though that it's a lot harder to pull off a compelling gameplay trailer as well. I mean, look at Halo last year. That was obviously critically panned.
Yeah, you're right.
Like I thought the gameplay was great, but obviously, it was very, very rough, right? So I think it's very difficult to pull off a good gameplay trailer. You have to really kind of nail it, the aesthetics, and you have to time it very well. Like some of the Horizon Forbidden West ones we've seen recently have been pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I think back to kind of the older E3s where there was some dude on stage with a controller playing a game. And they were probably the most boring parts of, the presentations. And I'm not saying that's what they're going to go back to, but look, CGI trailers are hype. It's like watching previews at movies. You get really excited about a particular trailer that you watch. I think that's the way.
I think what we got to do right now is get to a point where they could implement cloud gaming correctly, and when we're in one of these presentations, they go, okay, go ahead and pick up your controller, grab a keyboard and mouse. You're just going to start playing and running around while I talk over you doing that with some of the features we have, and like to give you 5 minutes of just doing that.
Yeah, but some trolls is going to run off the edge of the cliff or something.
Well, they would be the only ones to see it then. They'd be the only ones to see it because it'd be on your screen only.
I'm not the biggest fan of the CGI trailer unless they incorporate it to where it's like, it's CGI and then it transitions into the gameplay.
Yeah.
Smash Brothers does that constantly, which is those trailers CGI, then they transition right into the gameplay. So that's my preferred way, but I understand that sometimes you just don't have your gameplay ready, man. I mean, but you want to talk about the game, so what are you going to do? You're going to make a CGI trailer, and it works every time because people get
Wolverine, right?
People get stupid hype for shit that probably doesn't even look like how it's going to play. So it works and it keeps on working. So the developer's going to keep doing it. So
yep, it does. It builds up hype. It gets conversation going. People talk about it on podcasts, on Twitter, all that stuff.
Sometimes they're ridiculous. Like the Wonder Woman one was ridiculous. Like as a big fan, I'm like, come on, man. But I'm like, OJ, Wonder Woman. I'm like, yeah. Well, how does it play? Well, I don't know, but Wonder Woman. I'm like, okay, well, Wonder Woman.
But like, we got really excited about Wolverine from Insomniac, and it's.
But I didn't. I was like, okay, well, let me see it. I'm starting to get like before but now I'm starting to be like, okay, these first shots.
But we all blew up about like Metroid Prime 4.
We
and all.
did,
Like,
because
get
that
really
was so
excited about
long
those.
ago.
That wasn't even a
dead.
CGI trailer. That was just a JPEG.
It was a JPEG. That was kind of stupid though too. I was like, wait a minute, they just showed the JPEG. After I calmed down, I was like, wait a minute.
But basically, it's like if they hit the right game for you, even if it's just like a picture, you're gonna get hyped because you're like, oh, finally, this is happening.
What about the latest Mass Effect trailer? Like we Liara's trying to find Shepard, right? I mean, that it builds anticipation for what's coming. I think like, because I mean that part is probably not going to be in the game. It's really more about setting up the story for the next game. But there's definitely trailers that can generate.
It's going to be in the game. What'd you say? What'd you say? It's not going to be in the game. That part better be in the game.
You know what's great is if you have a game that looks so good that people think it's like, people thought that Hellblade stuff was CG. Hellblade 2. People were like convinced that it was just a CGI trailer, and the person was like, no, that's the game. Like, there's no tricks. That's it.
I kind of knew it was the game. I kind of knew.
Yeah,
I mean, they said
that's just kind of the point where we are now, where it's that impressive, where like people start questioning. They're like, does the game actually look like that? Apparently. So, I mean, we'll find out when we actually have it on our screen. But
the original Hellblade looked extremely impressive. So yeah, they just did that and said, hey, here's more. It's going to be even better. So I mean, yeah. So that's what I felt.
Let's go through some of these super chats here. Sokar says Twilight Princess, Wind Waker next year, Breath of the Wild 2 years after. So they're thinking 2023. Yeah, 2023. Michael says, remember, Nintendo is aiming to release a Zelda game every year. What game do they drop in 2022 if Breath of the Wild 2 doesn't make it?
Did they
what
say
games didn't they drop this year?
Twilight Princess and Wind Waker.
There you go. Wait, did they say that they were looking to do that?
No,
Drop
they
the
didn't
Zelda
say
game
it,
every
but if you follow the pattern, they pretty much, the last time that they have it, I think was like the Wii U era or something, but they do usually have a Zelda game, some type of Zelda game every year.
Link's Awakening on the Game Boy next year.
Let's go.
There you go. Hey, something.
Toxic says, I absolutely love the Xbox Power On series. It made me emotional a few times, reliving some of the biggest moments in video game history.
That's
okay,
good.
so
Enjoy
we
it.
have to talk about this for a second, all right, real quick for Power On. I was watching it, and I was stunned at how poorly managed the entire thing was to launching a console. Like, it was incredible stuff. They said they stole Windows from another team within Microsoft so that they could cut it down because they wouldn't give it to them. So they, at night, went and stole it from a server. But the craziest thing they said, and I still can't believe this, because this might have actually altered part of history in gaming, is that a studio, a developer, the smaller developer at the time, came to Microsoft, presented 2 games, and Microsoft turned down a game that I still cannot believe that I'm about to say out loud right now.
Yeah.
They turned down Grand Theft Auto 3 from Rockstar for being like a timed Xbox exclusive. And apparently the game they were really excited for was Austin Powers.
Dude, movie games at the time were big.
But to me, that kind of tells you the mindset of the people that were running that, because you could have seen that GTA would be big. And I'm not even trying to do 2020 hindsight or anything. If you play GTA 2, the one, you could tell that with more power, that could have been something incredible, because they were overhead. You guys remember the old school overhead ones? And I'm thinking to myself, like, if this was like different, it'd probably be more compelling. So the fact that they turned that down is just,
and what's
that's
crazy
rough.
is that game came out before the original Xbox release. From I remember, like a month or two. That could have been a launch title next to Halo on the original Xbox.
That could have changed everything. That could have completely changed the makeup of what happened in that generation.
It went on to sell 14.5 million copies.
You know how many people bought a PS2 for Grand Theft Auto?
That. Yep. Yeah. That was a big deal when that dropped. When that released.
I bought a PS2 for Grand Theft Auto.
It was DVD player and Grand Theft Auto. It's like that was just, you get a DVD player and you have the most innovative game in this time period. Like, it was nuts for those that were too young to remember. So yes, a DVD player. Yes, that was a very big deal back then. So
absolutely.
Apparently the deal that they cut with Sony was actually pretty cheap because Microsoft turned them down. So they just had to go find someone. So Sony actually got that game pretty cheap is what the word was. That's crazy.
I remember you said, I'm thinking when I was watching, I'm thinking, these guys are idiots. Like, I was thinking they're not idiots, but I'm like, these guys are idiots. idiots because I played GTA 2 on the Dreamcast and stuff, and I was like, this is pretty cool. The fact that they turned down a game like that, an open world,
it was Microsoft executives, and apparently their reasoning was they didn't think that Rockstar could make the transition from 2D to 3D.
Oh man!
And there you go, Rockstar proved them wrong.
You take your chance, man. Like you just got to take your chance.
Yeah,
you got to take your chance with that. That's something like. Something you can't just say no to something like that, man. Like I don't know. That's like heart. I bet that's like kind of like heartbreaking for them at the time when they saw what happened with GTA.
Oh yeah, they had to see that, like, crushed. Oh man. Like, I mean, they eventually got it on the original Xbox, but they were probably the ones going to Rockstar then. Rockstar wasn't going to them anymore.
Yeah.
So,
but then the damage was already done with the PS2 already was like steamrolling by that point that they got it, you know.
Yep.
So yeah, very interesting.
Cristobal says, much love and warmth to entire Spawncast holidays. Marvel can do no wrong. If no new Spawncast until 2022, Merry Xmas and Happy New Year in advance. I'll have a pre-recording next Saturday, so
the next one after that would fall on New Year's Eve day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, New Year's Eve day. Let me just double check the first. Okay, yeah. I mean, I'll be alive by then, right?
I mean, that's how hard you party on Christmas.
John partying doesn't seem like something that's a thing at all.
Hey, I got my Xbox over here. Halo's ready to go.
Okay, that's how you party. Yes, I see that. That's a good party.
Team Slayer's up and running now. The playlist is ready. TJ says, I'm curious if any of you have played a Neptunia game, or at least a game made by Idea Factory, Compile Heart like Death and Request.
I have. I've played Neptunia. They're cool games.
Okay. I have not played it.
Kind of like super Japanese, you know, use a lot
hyper
of
grind, yeah.
Yeah, hyper grind. I mean, it's okay. It's cool. They're not like the best games out there, but they're not bad.
You're not finding innovation in those games. Yeah,
no. They're the same thing each time. They're like Madden, but like Neptunia, like RPGs. They're like mass produced.
Julio says the adult website has shared its 2021 search results and platforms being utilized. Turns out PlayStation users win by a landslide. No surprise there is what they said.
Doesn't surprise me.
All right, then. There you go. Snacks says,
how they act online on Twitter posts and stuff doesn't surprise me, man.
Snacks says, Merry Christmas, gents. Have a beer on me. Thanks, WK Snacks.
I will after the show.
Necro says, who's hyped for Elden Ring? I know I am. I'm going to get good and teabag scrubs. There you go.
Can't wait for Elden Ring.
Yeah, Michael says, remember Nintendo is aiming to release a Zelda game every year. Talked about that. Let me have... Art says, for OJ, the TPHD stream or team did Skyward Sword. Twilight Princess HD team did Skyward Sword. That's what they said.
Yeah, I was remembering who was the name of the team.
Right.
That's what I wanted to know.
T-Joe says, glad to see you back, Evan, and happy holidays all. Yes, Evan's power's back.
It was a whole power line, like a whole chunk of it was just gone.
Oh man. Dragonheart says, with Cuphead DLC finally coming in June, do you think we'll finally get a physical release for Cuphead? Hopefully, Fire Emblem Awakening and Three Houses Rule. I would like to see a complete edition of Cuphead. I think it'd be great physically on a cartridge. Whole thing.
Fuck that game. It's way too hard. I can't play that game.
It's a fun game. I like Cuphead.
That's great.
I got no time for that.
They have James says, next major Pokemon game will be on new Nintendo hardware. Upgraded graphics and textures. Can we pray for voiceovers for Pokemon and Zelda Breath of the Wild 2? You want voiceover in Pokemon games, Jordan? How do you feel about that? Okay, very good.
I would very much like it. I think we're at that point where I think a lot of games that don't include the voice acting when there's a lot of text at this point, it just feels a little bit lazy to me.
I've been playing an indie game that's all like text and there's no voice acting, and it's really getting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something to me that I feel like can be budgeted for if done well. And it's not like Pokemon games. Like, yeah, it's all text, but it's not like it's mountains and mountains and mountains of text.
It's like a sentence or two at a time.
Yeah, Black and White 2, maybe a bit more. Black and White 2. There was a lot more story there, but like, come on, it's not a 79 million hour RPG that needs every side character dialogue.
Yeah. I agree with you. It should at least even be like partially text or partially voiced. So like big cutscenes, voiced. Non-big cutscenes, just regular chatter, not voiced.
Even
main
that
character
would be better. Is usually great, but if it's like a side quest, just maybe some sound effects just play, a little word bubble.
That would be immensely better.
Marcus, it seems a bit weird. Like they're showing off more of the game now, and it's just like I'm just
constant
like,
text.
it's like these little slap noises of like drawing it. I'm just like, yeah, there'd be nice if there's some text there if they had to present it, or some voice.
Just a little bit of voice.
Just a little bit of voice would be nice.
Be cool.
Shinru says, what's good, Spawncast crew? Just finished getting my rank in Halo Infinite. Apparently, I'm a platinum rank level player. First Halo game. Am I better than MVG Dreamcast guy in Spawn? Maybe. JK.
You're better than me, I tell you that, because I'm like
You were gold, right?
silver.
I thought you were gold.
Maybe I could be gold now. Yeah.
I'm like the lowest rank. So
Okay. Well, the lowest rank is like bronze. I think.
yeah, I'm like bronze because I haven't been playing as much. So I'm the worst.
I mean, placements will probably put you in gold or silver, I think, especially this early on.
I am Diamond 4, so you're not higher than me. on the path to Onyx someday. That'll happen. Zuck says, hey John Spawncast, have any of you ever covered the topic of console coil whine? I'm on my third PS5 because of excessive noise from the APU. I have not had that issue, and I have completely abused my PS5 at this point, so I'm just very lucky.
I have coil whine on my PS5. It's my launch PS5, and I can tell you, I can hear it during the middle of the night when it's making updates, like when it's like turning itself on to take a firmware update or something. But I kind of live with it. It's not that bad. I mean, it's annoying, but it's not the worst thing.
Okay. This is Michael saying, I would like to get into GBA games. What are some of your guys' top GBA games?
Golden Sun.
Golden Sun, score that immediately. You also look into the Mega Man Metroid. Yeah, the Mega Man Battle Network series is very fun. I do enjoy those. And honestly, they started moving a lot of Super Nintendo games to it, which is pretty funny, but they were cool experiences for being handheld at the time, because it was like, wow, this is pretty cool to have Super Nintendo games on the go with you. And some of the Yu-Gi-Oh games were fun too. I remember playing those back in the day, the Pokemon games.
Pokemon games are great. Castlevania, if you can get those, the Castlevania games are fantastic.
Absolutely, get the Castlevania
Advance
games.
Wars is legendary.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fire Emblem.
Yep. Fire Emblem's really good. There's a lot of good GBA games, man. That system had a crazy run in a very short amount of time.
You know what Game Boy Advance game I was playing earlier for the video for the Pocket? I was playing Max Payne. On the GBA,
Max Payne game on there?
Yeah.
That's what I said. I was like, oh, there was a Max Payne game, so I'm playing it. Dude, they had bullet time on the Game Boy Advance.
Wasn't just the normal frame rate? Are you sure?
You can jump and it slows them down and you start shooting. I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's this isometric looking, almost 3D style. It was
John,
kind
you
of
should
fun.
try out Jet Set Radio on the Game Boy Advance.
There is it.
There is one.
There is. Oh, was there? Is it like the top down, like kind of like isometric view, or is it like behind the back?
It's kind of in GBA-fied.
Interesting.
Give it a try.
Boktai, the sun is in your hand.
Oh, and Zelda Minish Cap. Get Minish Cap. Minish Cap is a great experience on the. I would like to see that done at some point on a modern Nintendo platform like they did Link's Awakening. I think that'd be cool.
If you like shooters, try Iridian. That's a really good one. Really good.
There's a lot of good games.
And you have games are good. The Donkey Kong Country games are good. The Banjo game is good. I mean, GBA is a great system.
And then you got all the Game Boy games thrown in. There's a lot of good stuff going on there. Yeah.
Oh, Fire Red. I know we said Pokemon, but Fire Red and Leaf Green is so good.
Oh, yeah.
Those are just amazing remakes of the original games.
This is from Diz saying, I was curious if content creators are negatively impacted by a user skipping through sponsor segments of video, or are you paid upfront? This depends. It depends on the deal usually.
The deal's usually negotiated before, but it depends. Every deal is different, but most of the time you'll negotiate the rate beforehand. So
yeah, they're mostly, I think, looking for engagement and just awareness of their product for the most part, or service. So, and Christian says, how interested are you guys in Sea of Stars? I'm really interested in it. Very interested. The game looks
very
great.
interested. Yeah, I think I raved about it for about 10 minutes in one of my videos.
Yeah,
about
the game
Sea of Stars.
Looks incredible from what we've seen so far. It's out next year, holiday.
End of next year.
Yeah,
that was the only kind of tough. The only kind of tough thing at that indie direct.
It's been going in Kickstarter for a while, and people got really hyped up to see that in that indie world, to see that it's actually like happening, like they got a release on it and all this stuff. So, I mean, Hey, I'm all for traditional JRPGs when we can get them because everything's going away from it. So
the comparison's
Bring it
Chrono
on.
Trigger that's out there, and they got Yasunori Mitsuda doing the music. I mean, the game looks like there's going to be no grinding. They say there's going to be platforming elements. It looks really cool and polished. So I am ready for the game, man. I am ready for it. It looks great.
Johnny says, hey, Spawnwave, love your show. I don't know if it's just me, but I miss the GameCube controller when I play Resident Evil 4 on my Xbox. Feels weird. Well, yeah, I mean, the game originally was designed around that controller, but I don't know. I was okay when I played the remake on the Xbox. It seemed like they figured all that out pretty well. Ray says, I appreciate the shout out from one of your newswaves when you mentioned me about the PS4 C-bomb situation. The name was Forrest. Also, shout out to OJ.
Hey, what's up, man? Thank you.
This is from Paulie saying, would love to see Fightin' Cowboy on the Spawncast. And then Joel says, MVG, what's the best monitor to use for 6th and 7th gen console? Not liking my 55-inch OLED.
Ooh, I don't see why you wouldn't use the OLED. Maybe the problem is you need like a retro tink or something like that. Because sometimes if you're going straight into a television without any type of upscaler, you may not get the best visual quality. But I would say check out the Retro Tink 5X Pro, because I feel like that will solve all your issues with this visuals. And stick with the OLED, because I think the OLED is probably your best choice, honestly.
Let's I have some more super chats to go through here, then we're going to go over to Streamlabs as well, just to double check anything there. But let me go around here. Jordan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on my YouTube channel, Jordan Fringe. I've been working the last month and a half to have basically a video every day from the 1st to the 25th of December, and it's almost wrapping up. I have a big Christmas finale next Saturday. So yeah, check that out if you're interested.
Okay. What about Evan? Where can everyone find you?
Find me on Twitter, Kimmerix Project. If I stream on Twitch or something, or anything's going on with conventions, or if I'm doing anything artwork related, I'll usually post it there. So you can just check it out there.
Truly Epic says, Spawn, please review Spider-Man No Way Home on Spawnwave Plus. I might. And my problem is, I mean, I'm talking all the spoilers then. It's all out there at that point for me. So I don't know.
There's no reason to go into the movie with being like, oh, that one scene. Yeah, you know what I'm talking.
Yeah, no. How do you? I don't know how you do that. I have to say all the stuff that happens, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just do it like 2 weeks after or something when I feel better about it, and just say spoilers all over the title and stuff. This is from Missing saying Nintendo only supported Game Awards when Reggie was there. He fought for them and Bowser doesn't. I don't know if that's completely true because Nintendo has to green light their announcements. Nintendo headquarters in Japan. Nintendo America is a marketing outlet mostly.
When did Reggie leave?
20. Did he really leave? Did he?
Did he really?
2018. 2018, 2019, somewhere in there, right?
Yeah,
the end
but
of 2018 or beginning of 2019?
They had the Sephiroth reveal with Bowser, and they had other stuff too since then. Yes. So yeah.
Shinru says, if Don Matrick was still in charge of Xbox, would the Xbox brand still be here to this day? I'd say no, but he was right about us always online. Don Matrick was ahead of his time. All right, I'm just gonna say it now. He was saying, you know what, you guys are always gonna be online. Guess what? We're always online. That's what he was saying. DRM is like all over the place now. I don't know. I think he might have been ahead of his time there. He might have been on to something. Although who knows? He wasn't the best in front of a camera with Jeff Keighley, so he might have ruined it before we got here. Larry says, I wish you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thanks for all the great content this year. Derek says, GameStop sent me a free copy of Sonic Colors for Switch with my last order. No idea why. They must be desperate to get rid of that game. Georgie says, thoughts on Don Matrick in the interview? I've not gotten to that episode yet. Okay, I got to get to the Xbox One review.
I've seen it. I'm not going to spoil it for you, John, but it's really awesome that they brought him on because, I mean, it's easy just to make this, like, series about how great, how shitty Xbox was at the start.
Make it one-sided, yeah.
Yeah, and how they became really good at the end. But they really kind of pull in the right people. And it's great that he's actually on it. The only thing I will say about the Xbox documentary is they didn't talk about the hacking stuff. And I feel like the hacking stuff is very important to the story of Xbox. But I also understand why they didn't go down.
I probably didn't want to go down that road for a couple of reasons to advertise that maybe. I don't know. But if I was Don Matrick, I'd have sat down in the chair and been like, does your Xbox work if you're not connected to the internet and you put a disc in? Does that work? Yeah, you guys fixed that, huh? At least they got rid of the Kinect, I guess. I don't know. It's really funny because there was a part of it where apparently Bill Gates was really mad at Xbox team for not seeing the Wii coming. So he's like, you got to do something about it. So they made the Kinect, and that actually led into the Xbox One with its Kinect that kind of messed up that generation for him. Ian says, MVG, what kind of music do you like to play on those guitars? Also, Merry Christmas, fellas.
A bit of everything. I mean, it's just how I feel. You know, blues, rock, metal, whatever. You know, whatever mood I'm in at the time.
You want to let them know where they can find you, MVG? I know you got a video coming up too to close out the year.
Yep. You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. Yes, on Monday I'm releasing a video on the 9.0 firmware jailbreak for PlayStation 4. So I kind of go deep in on that. So check out the channel. This will be my last video of the year. I will be returning on January the 3rd, which is the first Monday of the new year, I believe. So I'm just going to take a little break next week just to play some games, recharge, and get ready for next year. I am doing a live stream. I do an annual MVG Christmas Eve live stream every Christmas Eve. This will be the 4th one, so I'll be on next Friday night on a live stream. So just check out the notification. Just keep an eye on the channel for notifications on that. But thanks for having me on, and happy holidays, everyone.
Will you be demonstrating how to do the jailbreak?
No, I probably wouldn't do that. No, I wouldn't be.
I need a USB stick.
Oh, I mean, that's the easy part. You need the PlayStation to do it, though. What? The USB stick's easy.
I have a PlayStation.
Yeah. You can do it. It's really easy.
All right. I want that PT demo to come back to me.
We'll talk after the show.
That's fine. Austin says, Black and White 2 had voiceover in the form of a second gym with the band spelling out Pokemon on repeat while singing. Shinru says, which Nintendo IP would look better in Unreal Engine 4? Maybe 5. Also, is the analog pocket worth grabbing? I would say yes. GPA SP is cool, but finding new batteries are annoying. Yeah, the pocket is pretty legit. I'll say that. Which Nintendo IP would look better in Unreal Engine 4? Maybe 5? Metroid Prime 4. Put it in it. New hardware. Let's do it.
Maybe.
Go big. 4K, 8K. No, let's skip to 16K. Loden says, disappointed in Far Cry Blood Dragon. Really?
What?
I like that. It forces you to sign up for Ulink if connected to the internet. Also 30 FPS. Good game, but Ubisoft still Ubisofting. Second says, don't sleep on Wade Hickston's Counterpunch for GBA.
I'll check it out.
I've never played that.
I like recommendations like that of games I've never heard of, so I'm going to try it out.
OJ, where can everyone find you?
Yeah, find me right here on YouTube, Player Essence. We talked about it at the beginning, got some cool comedy stuff that I usually do to finish out the year. It was already kind of late just because we had some issues with the production of it. But now that it's cool, I got Miss Click's blessing. So that'll be commencing this upcoming week. So you guys look out for that. It's a comedy series called Black Keely. You guys should think it's fun. If you haven't seen the ones before, it's just kind of like spoofs on all of the people here. I know there's a lot of new subscribers and new people. So we just kind of have a little bit of fun. We give out some awards. So there will be a few videos to make up for it being this late. Usually it's the beginning of the year before the Game Awards, but some stuff happened, so I felt it would be better to wait till now. So that'll be this upcoming week. And I got videos that I do every single day, 7:30 or something like that in the morning. So you guys can check that out. And I stream pretty much daily. Monday through Saturday, I stream as well. So new videos every day, stream every single day. So you guys check out the channel, Player Essence. And I got a giveaway going too. SMT5 Premium Edition. So that one's sold out everywhere. So if you follow me on Twitter, at Player Essence, you can check out the giveaway too. Subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. So yeah.
Juan over on Streamlabs says, great show as always. Watching The Matrix next week, stream or theater. Why didn't actually, you know what? I will skip that part just in case people are going to watch Matrix for the first time to lead up to it. And happy holidays. Thank you, Juan. I am going to see Matrix. Trying to figure out if I'm going to the theaters. I guess I'll go the week or two after. I'm trying to figure this out.
Matrix? Is he trying to spoil Matrix?
There's a part in there where I'm like, no, not that Matrix. The series, the old ones. I'm like, I won't read that.
It's like Aerith in Final Fantasy. Come on.
I see some people online.
What happens to her?
What are you talking about, MVG?
What do you mean? I just played the remake. She's okay.
Shut up, French.
I think that's everything though. I think we're good. Shinru says can't wait for Nintendo and Sony's NFTs. That'll be a dark day in gaming. Be a dark
They'll
day.
most likely be put up illegally by not Sony and Nintendo on other sites.
It'd be Sony and Nintendo spelled with like zeros and threes. All right, that's gonna do it here for a Spawncast. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Next weekend be a pre-recorded episode, and then I'll at least be here the following week. It'll be the first of the year, so it'll be later on at night. Obviously, I'll be back and alive at that point. So
I'm also not a cool person. I'll probably be here too.
I'll be here. Well,
MG will be here too.
I'll be playing video games for the next 2 weeks. I'll be around.
Okay, cool. So we'll be back here then. Like I said, pre-recorded next week. Everyone have a happy holiday. Take it easy, play some games, and we'll see you guys next time.
Think for yourself.
Question, Chris.